I was like, oh my God, we got a TLC match.
What is up, everyone? I'm your host, Alannized, and this is Noche de Pendejadas, your favorite podcast turned talk show en donde yo traigo a tus influencers favoritos para platicar y posiblemente sacarle sus trapitos al sol. Please help me welcome my guests tonight, Natalie y Ángel Aguilar. You guys are all like, ¿en dónde está Cristian? Bienvenido. She's like, aquí está, amigas. Pero ¿cómo están? Welcome. Thank you guys so much for being with us aquí el día de hoy. Antes de que empecemos, díganos un poquito de su día, cómo empezó, cómo se prepararon para llegar. How was the ride here? Because I know you guys did like a 2-hour drive?
Yeah. We woke up this morning and I'm like, oh my God, it's podcast day. This is our first podcast. So very exciting. I'm so happy my sister's here with me because I'm like, it's not just me, like it's together. Like,
were you guys nervous?
A little. But
cuando te mandé mensaje, you were like, fuck, no lo quiero hacer. What was like your reaction when I sent you the message?
Okay, I saw people start to tag us, right? And when I first started getting tagged, I was like, oh my God, like we're gonna have to do a podcast. And like, I feel like for me, I rather just like push it off. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what, like I'm not even gonna stress, like he probably won't even ask me to come on. And then I saw you followed me and I was like,
you're like, it's getting closer.
I was like, oh fuck, we're gonna have to do a podcast. And I'm not like that, I don't wanna do it. Like, this is so exciting. But it's just nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking. How was it like for you hoy en la mañana que te levantaste?
This morning, I was like excited but also nervous. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna be talking. Like, I love to talk. And like, I would annoy her as like when I was little, like talking
literally
nonstop.
In the car. I was like, you're talking too much.
I know.
You're like, cállate, save it for the podcast.
Like, yesterday she was like, be quiet. Let's play the quiet game. And I was like, oh my God.
So you guys are actually, I think I want to say top 3 most requested guests. Aunque hoy no les pude traer a toda la familia, amigas. Hoy les traje a 2 de los 4, but I'm so excited de poder conocerlas un poquito más a ustedes. Antes de que empecemos con el chisme del día de hoy, yo quiero darles a ustedes el tiempo para que nos digan un poquito más de quién son y qué hacen.
I'll start. I'm Natalie. I am 22 and I do social media, mainly TikTok and maybe sometime, or you guys might start to know us from YouTube. And yeah, I create content with my family, just like relatable stuff that happens at home or like arguments or just whatever. I guess we just vlog our life.
Hi, I'm Angie. I'm 17. I'm mostly known for being in my sister's videos. But I also do have like my own YouTube, which I focus more on that. And then my TikTok, I post on there every once in a while.
Ya vamos a empezar con el chisme, amigas. Y vamos a empezar con la primera pregunta que yo siempre empiezo with. Quiero conocer un poquito más de su infancia. How was Natalie y Ángela growing up?
Growing up, I think I was like the easy child. Pretty calm. You know, I was always with my mom at home. She was a stay-at-home mom a lot of our childhood. So we got to be with her. And growing up too, my grandma lived with us for a little bit. So just being raised by my grandma and my mom. And then my dad was always working. So I would see him at nights. But just being around them, calm. They taught me to like estar en la casa. So school, home, and then extracurricular activities. Just really not boring childhood. I don't know, just like really basic.
So you barely saw your dad growing up?
No, I would see him every night. He would come home like at 6, but most of my day was with my mom and my grandma. I mean, I would see him like he'd come home like 6, 7, and then by like 9 I have to go to bed. So
I was definitely the one that gave my parents more trouble. Just like growing up, there's videos of me, Angry Angie, but we'll get into that later. Anyways, I was definitely more the outgoing, social kid, and I would always be like, oh, I want to go to my friend's house and stuff. But yeah, I think I was definitely like the second more exciting. Not saying that she's boring. I'd rather be doing something, and like she just likes being home. Like I can be home for like a good amount of the day, but like I always want to like go out.
For 4th of July this year, my parents had been working a lot at the store recently. There's like seasons where they're like out of the store and they like do whatever, but like there's seasons where they're like in there and they're working hard. So this 4th of July, they were really busy and they came home and they were tired. And so that night we had plans to like go out and like meet up with friends. We do everything as a family. So we were all gonna go out with some like friends as a family. And they like ended up just sleeping in. Like I knew my parents were tired. And that night, like fireworks start going off and Angie is just mad. Like she's like,
I just hear them and I'm not seeing them. Like,
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want to stay in.
No,
Yeah,
I'm like,
she was-
where are they?
no, she was genuine like mad. She's like, we're not doing anything. And my mom and dad were sleeping and she's like stomping around the house,
I
coming
was
to my
not
room.
stomping.
Yes, you were.
No,
You
I was
got.
not.
Yes, you were.
I was
Anyway, okay. She wasn't stomping. She was stomping.
She was walking really loud.
Yes. She was like in my room. I'm like, okay, you know what? Because when she gets mad, it's like,
Se nota?
yes, dude.
Okay.
Like she cannot hide it. So I was just like, you know what? Like, do you want to go get in the car? Like, let's go drive around and see the fireworks. And then once my mom saw we were up, she's like, oh, never. And so my mom, sister, and I, my dad was passed out, but my mom, sister, and I went and we like saw some fireworks down the
Did you at
street.
least have a good time?
Yeah, I was watching them through the car, but I was like, oh my god, they're so pretty. It's fireworks.
It was
'Cause it's,
literally,
like the one time I get to see fireworks out of all year. I was happy like staying home and getting in the pool and like chilling, grilling and everything. But like the one thing, it's 4th of July. I want to see some fireworks. Like I want to
Nos platicas un poquito that you're more of like the person that if you're mad, they can tell.
Yeah.
Is that like a thing? Like you guys are like, no anden diciendo nada porque si Angie se pone de malas, ya no vamos a hacer lo que tengamos que hacer.
oh, like my mom will tell me like, deja tu hermana. Same with me though too. Like I feel like anyone in our family, like when
Yeah.
we're mad, like you can tell.
Yeah,
Like
and
there's no hiding it.
I never noticed like how mad I got because I thought, oh, they're my family. They know how whenever I'm mad.
They're exaggerating.
Yeah. And then it was like I was at practice because I used to do cheer. And then my coach, all three of my stunt group, we weren't hitting a stunt and we were all frustrated. And like my coach is all like, they pulled us aside and they're like, we know you guys are frustrated. It's very visible and your energy is tense.
They're like,
But, like-
"We, it's all you.
I know. And then so they make us like go again and like until we hit it. And then I was like, okay, I'm like better now.
I feel like I'm better. I feel good.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the thing too. Like, I feel like I'm the type of person que no se me nota. Si estoy enojado or frustrado, a veces sí se me nota, but I'm really good at hiding it. Pero igual, mi cuñada también, whenever we have to do anything y la miramos ya que anda con su amor, we're like, no le digan nada, don't even stress her out, porque es capaz que los planes no se hacen. Quiero platicar un poquito de, su infancia. Le ganas a Angie con casi 4 años y medio. How was that growing up? Do you guys feel like that age gap was evident and kind of, made it kind of hard for you guys to bond growing up?
I feel like, okay, so when she was a baby, I was so excited to have a little sister. Like, in our house, there was an extra room that was going to be her nursery, but I told my parents, like, no, like, I want her to sleep in my room. So they set up her crib in my room. Like, I was ready to welcome her, and she's born, and she's like a newborn. My mom, like, I remember my mom would be, like, changing her diapers, and I'd be trying to pick her up. And my mom's like freaking out because like this 4-year-old is like trying to pick up a newborn. And my mom's like, déjala en paz, like un día va a venir que like te va a estar siguiendo, van a estar juntas todo el tiempo y ya te va a caer gorda. Like de ahorita está chiquita, pero va a venir el día.
Aprovecha que no te va a molestar ahorita.
Yes, dude, let me tell you, that day came quick. Like, she
You're like
was
the
so
next
annoying.
day. Empiezan a dormir juntas. What moment was that? You know what, mom? Ya sácamela de aquí.
I think it's
We never like we always shared a room
Yeah.
until like later in
Recently?
life. Yeah.
Yes. So, well, until we moved to San Diego. So we had to
Okay.
share a room. We moved like from that childhood home. We moved one more time and we still shared a room. Not like we didn't have an option there. We had to share a room. We had to downsize.
Peleaban mucho growing up.
It was always because of the room. Like she's very messy and I'm very like make your bed every day, put your clothes away and make sure it's clean.
It's just my clothes that's out. Like what my mess is my clothes.
So anytime we would fight, it was because like I would tell her, Angie, clean your side of the room. And she's like, why do you care what my side looks like? Well, because it's my room too.
Mom didn't tell me to clean it. It's my side of the room. I think it looks fine. Like, why do you care so much? Like, you have half of your room and I have half of
Because
the
I
room.
have to look at it.
Okay, then don't
What was
look
like
at
the
it.
biggest fight que ustedes todavía se recuerdan from growing up? Is there like a fight where you guys still look back and you're like, dude, why were we fighting? Or sometimes maybe even look back and crack up at it?
Honestly, no. Like every fight we have, it could be like the most like physical, like we're all beating each other up. We will like fight like fucking crazy. Like my parents were like, oh shit. And then like 20 minutes later, it's like, hey, let's go to Target. Like we're
Yeah.
fine. So there hasn't been a fight where like we don't talk for days. I think maybe the most like an hour or I'm like petty to her, but
Yeah.
Normalmente, ¿quién se chingaba a quién? Like, who would win?
oh, she
You would
hit.
beat her up?
Yes.
But like, would you
I
like
would
let
send
her
you
beat you
videos.
up? Or like, was it because like she would actually beat you up?
No. I would let her beat me up
Yeah.
until like I was like, all right, you're done. And then I would like, And then my mom would be like, "Neyas."
Yo pienso que mis hermanos, I've always been like the more tranquilo one. But whenever me and my siblings would fight, yo me acuerdo que yo me enojaba because casi siempre me puteaban. Like they would always like beat me up. And I remember this one time, like I got so mad and my sister was like beating me up. Me gana ya como con 2 años. I think she's like 28, I'm 26. And at the moment, I was so mad porque me dio un putazo que me dolió. And I went crazy. I think like la asustó más, no el golpe que le di, but just my reaction. Because I was like, ah! And I started going crazy que hasta empezó a correr la hermana y me acuerdo desde esa vez ya nunca me cucó, ya nunca me dijo nada. But it did happen like that. Was that you? Like going crazy at her, that kind of scared her?
No, Angie's always the one to start it when we get physical. And like, I'll let her hit me 2 or 3 times. And I think the third one, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, I get her back. Like, literally 2 weeks ago in the car, we got
Like
into a
physical?
fight. Yes. We can laugh about it
Wait,
now, though.
tell us. ¿Por qué empezó el pleito?
Oh, because we were on our way we were taking my mom to see.
Don't remember.
You will right now. We were taking my mom to see a play. It was Timbiriche, Vaselina.
Timbiriche,
Yes,
okay,
she loved Timbiriche.
Like old school?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So it was in LA. It's 3-hour car ride. And we're in the car, and Angie was in a bad mood because, why? You just didn't like your outfit. Literally because she didn't like her outfit. But when I'm telling you, when she's mad, like, you can tell.
Yeah.
And so her vibe in the car was just, like, mad, like, headphones in.
My vibe, headphones in, looking out the window.
But, like, the way
Fine,
she is,
calm.
you were stomped into the car, you slammed the door, like, we could just feel it. Like, you tell mom, like, oh, mom, when you're mad, like, we can tell it's the same thing.
Igualita
with
que la
you.
mamá.
Yes,
Yeah.
just like my mom. So then my dad, he plays like music that he knows Angie hates just to fuck with her, and we played it super loud because we were all messing with her, and then that like sent her over the edge.
She was already like, over it, but it was just them like it was like 40 minutes into the car ride. Like I was fine. I was looking out the window, like literally listening to my music, and then they do it, and I'm like we're over this already. Like why are you guys bringing it up?
But that just like I don't know, sent her over the edge again, and then she's like, leave me alone. And then she hit me, and then I was like, "Oh hell no!" And then I hit her back. And
So
then
ni llegaron al concierto.
No, we did. We got there. And we were
Todas
fine.
despeinadas, like all fucking con chipotes everywhere. Who won though? Like, did you guys like actually go rounds, or was it just like un putazo y ya?
it was
Not any rounds in the car.
My mom looked at the car. Ding, ding, ding.
She's all excited up. Your dad's all the referee.
No.
Like, you know what? Let's stop the car.
My dad was laughing, and my mom was just like, "Niñas, yeah." And then we got there and we were fine.
So it's like a costumbre thing. Like you guys
Yeah.
obviously fight a lot, but it's obviously I feel like you guys fight al límite. Like you guys
Yeah.
obviously don't fight to the point that you guys are actually injuring each
No.
other. You're like, no, we are.
I'm
One
on
or
the
two
bruise.
bruises. I mean,
Quiero platicar un poquito más de you guys growing up. Me cuentas tú that your mom was a stay-at-home mom for a lot of your guys' time growing up. When you were in 3rd grade, Natalie, tu mamá se agarró un trabajo. How was that like for you? Do you feel like you almost had to take like more responsibilities because now as the oldest child, you kind of had to take care of Angie?
I didn't feel like the responsibility, like having to take care of her. It was just like, I don't know. I just felt like that was something I was gonna do. Like my mom told me, "Oh, vas a cuidar a tu hermana," and I was like, "All right." Like we would just chill at home. But it wasn't until like I got older and I realized like what was going on. Like my parents had their house and then they lost it and we had to downsize. I remember we went on vacation to Mexico one year. My mom just told me, "Despídete de esta casa," because when we come back, we're gonna come back to a different house. She didn't really explain it to me. That's how she told me. I was like, okay. We come back and I just remember because we would go to Mexico for like
6 weeks.
6 weeks at a time.
Oh, shit.
Growing up, to Chiapas to be with my grandma. And so we come back, and my room is in boxes in this like random new room. And I'm just like, okay. And then I started at a new school. It was like down the street from where we lived, but like I had to go to a new school. And
This was still in the Bay Area?
yes, this is still in the Bay Area. So once we downsized, and then my mom started working again. And so she worked, and a lot of people don't know this, but we actually did martial arts for like 6 years of our life.
Oh, shit.
And my
Pues ahí
mom-
agarró la técnica.
Dude,
literally.
yes. But then
putting it to
my
use.
my mom got offered to start teaching martial arts actually. So my mom was like a martial arts teacher for a little bit, and she did that for a minute while because she could still take us. It was a job where she could take us, like we'd hang out there and then we would do our classes too. So it kind of just worked out. And then she started doing real estate again. So during all that, when she'd be gone during the day or just like out and we wanted to be home doing homework, the days that we were, it was just me and Angie at home. But I didn't feel like, oh, I have to watch over you. Like, it was kind of that age where she can do what she wants as long as she's not like
like doing like crazy shit.
Yeah.
Obviamente, you were more of the responsible one cuando los dejaban en casa. For you, Angie, did that ever get annoying? Like, you're not mom, no me digas lo que tengo que hacer. Or were you guys really just kind of like, tú en tu cuarto, tú en otro lugar? How was that like for you growing up?
For me, like, it was a good chunk of it. Like, we were doing our own things, but like whenever she gets very bossy. She can be very, very bossy. And like, ever since I was little, like, I don't like people like bossing me around.
I feel like
just don't
being
like it.
bossy is like any older sister can relate though. Like
Yeah.
your mom leaves you in charge of some chores and you need to make sure they get done, you
but
know?
here's the thing. She would give me some of her chores to do.
I would.
So I would start catching on to it, and I'm like, Mom didn't tell me to do that.
No, because my mom would make me do the dishes and I would hate doing the dishes. Like, Mom said you had to do the dishes. It worked for a little bit until she started catching on.
And then, oh my God, it was just like, but for overall, like, I felt it pretty good. I didn't really realize, like, what was going on. I was still young at the time. And so I was just like, okay, my sister's watching me. I thought it was normal, whatever. And then it was just like the only times we would get into it is whenever it's like
We had to
chores
clean.
or clean or anything.
I always hated cleaning. I feel like as a kid, it's like, girl, like, you really are gonna leave me in the house? Like,
Dude.
and you're making me do the chores?
Yeah.
Like, my mom también, mis parents siempre trabajaron ellos full time. So I feel like a lot of the time, yo me acuerdo que I started staying home, I wanna say like first grade vibes. Like, there would be even times like, I don't know if this happened to you guys, but whenever anyone would knock on the door, se metían para el cuarto todas asustadas. You're like, ay, no, aquí va a llegar CPS a recogernos o algo. But it was very like a crazy time. I feel like for me, yo era chiquito. So I feel like I can relate to you too because my oldest brother me emputaba mucho because he me gana ya casi como con 10 años. Like, he's like 30 something, I'm 26. I think he might be like 36 now. So yeah, like 10 years or around there. And I would get so mad because él a gusto se quería sentar haciendo nada y teniéndome a mí, a mi hermana y a mi otro hermano haciendo cosas como si fuéramos sus criados. Like, that's me.
I would clean.
You would do like the one thing that Mom actually told you to do and then give me like the other 5 for me to do plus
Not
mine.
even. No, I think a lot of it was like you would get the chores that take like a while, like the laundry.
Yeah.
And so she would have to go in and
Why
like
do you think I don't like doing my laundry anymore? Like,
yeah.
but like, okay, here's the weird thing. Like, if nobody tells me to do it,
oh yeah.
I'll enjoy it. Like, it's like
you have to want to
therapeutic.
do it. Yeah.
No.
or angry
literally,
cleaning. Angry cleaning.
The other day, this was what, Saturday morning, Friday night, my mom tells me she's going to stay home from work. And she was going to, like, well, she knew she was going to take the day off. So she was like, that night, she was like, mañana les voy a despertar gritando porque vamos a limpiar. And I was like, Mom, like, look at how you're already coming into, like, having to clean. Like, you're telling me you're going to yell at us so we can clean.
Yeah.
Well, if I don't yell at you guys, like, you're not going to do it.
No lo hacen, yeah.
I'm
yeah,
like, yes, we will. Like, you just don't yell at us because I told her, I was like, what makes us annoyed when we clean is like you telling us to do it or like yelling at us to do it. And it's not
First thing
like,
in the morning.
yeah, it's not even like she's like yelling at us like, you better clean. It's like, niñas, ya levántense. And that just irks me.
At like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
You're
music
like,
blasting, and I'm like,
So that night, I literally FaceTimed Angie. It was like 10 p.m. Mom went to sleep. Dad went to sleep. And I was like, Angie, come downstairs. Mom's going to wake us up to clean tomorrow. Let's just do it now. And like, we can sleep in and like it'll be done for her. And we cleaned the whole house.
in,
Like,
Y no los
40
levantó.
minutes.
yeah, in like 40 minutes, we just like pumped it out. I like decluttered everything, like deep clean.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
At night, damn.
Yes.
You're like, mejor ahorita que en la madrugada.
Yeah, and it's hot right now, so like we weren't sweating. It was
Yeah.
like nice.
It was nice.
peaceful cleaning.
Yeah,
But my mom
it was,
woke
like,
up.
quiet.
What did she say when she woke up and it was all clean?
Oh, she was like, she sent it to text because she went to yoga. She goes to yoga like at 6 a.m.
Damn,
Yeah,
that's
my
hella
mom's an
early.
early
So, ¿a qué hora
bird.
se levanta? ¿Como las 4, 3 o qué?
No, like at 4, 5:30.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends. Like it really depends on her work schedule. Like if she wants to go work out or whatever. But she sent us a text. She's like, "Qué bonita sorpresa. Muchas gracias. Qué bonita sorpresa, mijas. I love you." So we were able to help her out. But it's always cleaning that gets you mad, or
Yeah.
people telling you what to do that gets me mad. The one thing I cannot do is mop. Like I tell my mom, I was like, "Mom, I will help you do everything else, but I will never mop." Like
I feel like I can't barrer. Do you guys know
Yeah.
how like broom good?
Oh, I bought a little iRobot, you know, the ones that vacuum for you because I don't want to. So.
I feel like whenever I broom, like I feel like todavía queda mucha tierra. And I don't know how people like get like all the tierra in one brooming session.
Yeah.
Because I'll be done with an area and then I'll go over again like maybe 20 minutes later and I'm like, dude, it looks like I didn't even fucking go over it the first
Yeah.
time. But I feel like there's like techniques to that que yo no quiero enseñarme, amigas. I'm like, a mí me gusta hacer esto, sentarme
Yeah.
aquí y platicar con mis invitados.
Going back to like how we were as sisters. We did have our phase where we thought we were like annoying or she would annoy me, but like we grew out of that and now we're like each other's best friends.
Yeah.
Do you guys se cuentan todo?
Yes. Yeah. Like sorry. When we spend a day apart or like she goes out with her friends or whatever, like the next morning she comes to my room and like she tells me about the whole day. So it's just like we have to catch up with each other.
Do you trust her to tell her like your chisme, or do you feel like fuck, le voy a decir a mi mamá o mi papá?
Out of everyone, I'd probably feel most comfortable telling it to her because like I don't know, it's like going into my parents' relationship, my relationship with my parents, I've always been like kind of to myself. And so like with her, since I'm with her so much of the day and like I grew up with her so much, like I've always just automatically like, oh, Ali, let me tell you about this or something. But like, you know,
I feel like it's normal. Obviamente hablamos mucho que de chiquitas peleaban mucho, but I feel like that's the most normal thing. And I feel like especially because you guys have grown up together, it's like, pues con quién más voy a pelear? You're like, I gotta get those fucking boxing training sessions.
Mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts. Yes. Did you guys do that? How good were you guys at that?
Yeah, we did mixed martial arts for a good chunk of our life. I got to second degree black belt. My dad is a first degree. My mom is a second degree, and then
I'm a brown one.
Angie never got to the black belt.
What's like the rating? Like, how does it start? Does it start with like a no belt and then to black? Because I know like black is like the best, no?
Yeah, you get white belt. Oh, I don't remember. White, orange, blue, purple. No, blue, green, purple, and then you get into like red one, brown.
No, it was brown one, black.
Brown one, red one. Red, black, and then when you have the half red, half black is when you test for your black belt.
One.
And it was like it's like a whole all day thing.
Wait, you have to test for the black belt? So like not even your mom porque te quiere, she can be like, mija, ya estás buena para pelear, and you're a black belt?
No, you test for it. Like it's a whole
like,
thing.
And it's like, it's not even just like the day of, it's a whole process.
Yes.
Like, you're logging everything you do, like you're meditating, everything.
Yeah, it was this whole
Did you guys ever do like competitions growing up? Like do you guys go and like fight other people like at competitions?
We would do tournaments. So that's where we would like I would always do the forms because you could do sparring where you would I hated it. I hated sparring. I did not like it.
I ever did sparring.
What is that?
Sparring is like you gear up and then you like you fight.
Okay, like legit, like go through with it. Yeah.
What you like what you taught with or whatever. But I would always do the forms. So there was like little forms, not dances, but like karate forms, and you would do it. Yeah, a routine. Yeah, a routine. And you do it in front of judges, and then you get scored on like your technique and stuff, and then
So you guys never actually had to do like a one-on-one with someone else?
No.
It's not like wrestling. Because I know wrestling, like, los ponen en un círculo y ahí se ponen a agarrarse.
No,
that's crazy.
The only one I got was with her. So
you're like, that's where you guys would take that
off. Yes.
So do you guys feel like because you guys were doing that, the mixed martial arts growing up, do you guys feel like that's why you guys also were more like, oh, let's fight, girl, because we're doing all this training, might as well put it to use?
I don't think I ever thought of it like that. It was just like, in me, I get a really bad temper. Like,
she also loved watching WWE growing up.
Yeah.
Wait, who's your favorite wrestler?
The Bella Twins.
Do you still watch it or yeah, no?
I don't really watch it. Like, I'll see clips of it. And, like, I just love the whole diva era. Like, I love watching the divas. Like,
you literally have to go to my house because you'll literally die. I have like all the wrestling belts. Like I have like a whole room dedicated to like the wrestling belts, like the really big ones. I have a bunch of like the toys y todo eso. I am obsessed, and I used to be obsessed. I actually got into wrestling as a kid because obviamente, you know, I grew up being more feminine and I was always gay. Me gustaba ver a las girls fight. And at the time, it wasn't like crazy fighting how they do now. So I always liked how they would walk in, like, I loved it. Were you watching it when the Bella Twins first got introduced?
No, I got into it like when she was with it was like her backward hat era. And
so you were already like watching it when they were already the Bella Twins.
Yes, like when they had made, like, I saw them. I was like on YouTube, and I saw like Bella Twins, and then I saw their intro, and they were all sassy, and I was like, oh my god, wait, I'm feeling this.
Por si no sabías, the way they started, they actually, I don't know who started first. I think it was Nikki or Brie. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I think
where they were like exchange in the beginning, like se metía una abajo del ring y la sacaban otra y salía otra y ganaba. Like, that's crazy. Have you ever been to like an event?
I've gone. Oh my god.
We surprised her with tickets to one when they were in San Diego one time.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was Raw.
You need to go to WrestleMania. I went to WrestleMania. That's always been my dream. Before, el año pasado fue la primera vez que lo tuvieron aquí in like
SoFi.
LA in the
Yeah.
SoFi Stadium. I went both days. The tickets were so expensive. I think each day, because eran 2 días, ya lo cambiaron. Antes it was just like one day, one night. But now I think to make more money, they made it like a 2-day event. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go both days porque there's matches that I want to see from day 1 and day 2. And I remember una noche fue mi novio y otra noche fue ella, my best friend, because like it was so expensive. I think the tickets per night were like 1,500 each.
Dude, yes.
They're expensive.
We wanted to go like the last day because she was watching all of it like come up, and I saw her like starting again.
Oh my God.
And the tickets were like $900
they're
each,
expensive.
and
It's not even like front row.
no,
it's
you're like
like
up in the crowds. I'm like,
there.
damn.
Ahorita este año no he ido ningunos because I'm trying to like save up para que no me duela when I go to WrestleMania next year because they're gonna be in Vegas. So
Let's go to
prepárate.
WrestleMania Vegas.
I'm
Oh my
like
God.
todos,
One thing
literal.
about-
I'm like SeatGeek. Like, please take us. No, honestly, I love, like, I've been to so many. I feel like as a kid, I was never able to go because obviamente my parents couldn't even afford it. So I feel like as an adult, I feel like I started buying like all those wrestling belts, all those stuff, because I was like, ahora sí yo me puedo dar ese gusto. And I've been to at least like 6-8 wrestling events. And I've taken like my boyfriend, I've taken friends, and they're like, you know what? Like, even though I'm not like crazy about WWE, it's an experience. It's fun.
The energy there is just, oh my God. When we went, it was a TLC match against, it was a title match. So when that came up, I was like, oh my God, we got a TLC match. And so it was like so cool. And everyone, like, obviously, like, you can hear the crowd and how they're doing it, everything. It's just
They
like,
showed her on TV. Like, my cousin at home was watching it, and she was like, Angie, you were on TV. Because, like, she got you into it, right?
Yeah.
Our cousin Natalie got her into WWE, so she was watching it, and she texted, like, Angie, you're there. They just showed you on TV. And if you could find it still.
Going back to the interview, quiero platicar un poquito más de su infancia. Estamos platicando de ustedes. How was your guys' relationship growing up with your parents?
I was always very close with my parents. I love hanging out with them. We're very close as a family too. But you'll see with Angie right now, she'll explain her like how she feels. But I like love to be with my mom. I especially now, like, I feel like they say that as you grow up, you start to like relate, or not relate, but like understand your parents more. So I'm definitely at that stage where I'm like, I like to talk to them and just like be with them. And yeah, I feel like I'm equally as close to both of them, to be honest. It just depends on their moods. Some days my mom's in a bad mood and I'm like, hey, Dad, what's up? And then my dad will be in like a mood and my mom will be like, anda de una tu papá. And I'm just like, yeah.
So for me, when I was little, I was definitely more, I was equal, honestly, as a kid.
Yeah.
I was definitely a daddy's girl. But like,
Mom, don't get jealous.
Mommy, please don't get jealous. I love you. But my mom was always there for me. And then whenever my dad got home, I'd be like, oh my God, Dad.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I've always been like pretty to myself. Like, if I spend enough time with you, I'm good. I'll go up to my room. Like, enough is enough. Right now, like, I don't know. It kind of goes like, if it's more about topics.
Okay.
Like girl talk, I'll talk to my mom. I'll choose me out with her. Yeah. And then like sports and like other stuff, like news or stuff, I'll talk with my dad.
Yeah.
And so like, it just depends on the topic and like how much my social battery or my family battery is like feeling it that day. Because if everyone's downstairs, like I'll go downstairs, I'll see what's going on. If I want to hang out, I'll hang out. But if I'm like not feeling it and I'm like tired and like I just want my alone time, I'll go upstairs.
Ever since she was little, though, like my mom has said this, that Angie's always been more to herself. Like she'll be like, she was a happy baby or whatever, but she gets to a point where she just starts crying, and my mom would change her diaper, feed her. Like she was fine, and my mom would just put her in her crib, and she'd stop, like leave her in her room, put her in her crib, and she would stop crying, and she would just like be with herself.
It depends on the day, really. Like I don't know, like the vibes have to be right if I'm spending the whole day with them. Also, the day before, if I spent so much time with them, like the next day I'm like, okay, like give me my space. But like, I don't know, it really just depends.
I think it also has a lot to do with you living with them.
Yeah.
Maybe a lo mejor cuando you guys move out, it'll be more like, you know what, maybe I want to spend more time with my parents because you don't see them as often. Nos platicas un poquito de que growing up, you would see a lot more your mom than your dad. Do you feel like you almost were more excited and like maybe closer to your dad growing up because your mom was doing a lot of like the parenting and a lot of like the getting you guys in trouble while your dad was like away?
Yeah, because like,
my mom was definitely the
discipline,
stricter parent, and my dad was like, I remember my mom would get mad at us because like we'd be up late baking cookies with my dad, you know? Or like he'd be making hot dogs late at night and like we'd watch like Fluffy with my dad. And
Después de trabajar, eh?
yeah.
Oh, that's nice. At least he
Yeah.
wouldn't get home and be like, girl, I'm tired. I'm not even going to be a
No.
dad today.
His routine, he'd like come home, he would shower, and then he would just
come home, go to the gym, shower.
Oh yeah, when he used to go to the gym.
when he was actually back.
Yeah, he would like go to the gym all the time, and then he'd like come home, and then we just chill with him. Like we were supposed to go to bed like early, but then like some nights if I could tell he was up, I'd just like go see what he's doing.
A las edades de 10 y 15, you guys, moved from the Bay Area to San Diego. Cuéntenos un poquito más de eso. How did you guys' parents tell you guys about the news? How did you guys take it? Y cómo fue todo eso, like from moving from the Bay Area to San Diego, which is literally like across the state?
So I remember my mom and dad got the opportunity to have their own business, and they did tell us like there was a possibility that we might be moving to San Diego. And at first I was like, I don't want to move. Like my whole life I've been in this little area, like Santa Clara. That's where we were. And I was like, okay. I kind of warmed up to it, honestly. After a while, like it was lingering. Like the idea was like lingering for a while. So when they finally told us, I was like, okay. And then I remember that day, they told us it was a FaceTime call, right?
It was a FaceTime call.
Because she called us to tell us, hey, like we got the store, like we're officially going to be moving. And I was just like, oh my God, like excited for them that they got the store. I didn't really focus on the fact that we were going to be moving. It didn't hit me till later.
Yeah.
And then
For me, like as soon as they told us that, I was like, oh yay. And then I just started crying because I'm like, oh my God.
Friends.
Yeah, my friends, like I'm moving. Like I don't want to move. Like, what do you mean? Like, why are we moving? I was young and so
Like
I
no
didn't.
captabas that it was like for something to like better your
Yeah,
guys' situation.
I did not understand that. And so I was like, I started crying because I'm like, my friends, like, I was supposed to go into middle school that year. I was like, what the heck? Like, I don't want to move. And then I was just like, with time going on, I was like, okay, like, I accepted it. Like, bye. Like, I'm moving. Like,
How was it like you guys adjusting to your guys' new life in San Diego? Was that hard for you guys to adjust to like a new school, making new friends? Did you guys have any difficulties when it came down to that?
I think, well, when we first moved, we moved that break. It was like December 2017.
Okay.
So it was that winter break. And our school down here has year round. So we get like almost a month off of school in December.
Okay.
3.5 weeks. And I had just had my break from like my old school, and then we move, and then I still have 2 more weeks. Like I was expecting to jump right back into school, but we moved here. I'm like, oh, I still have 2 more weeks. And those 2 weeks, my parents weren't working just yet. We were kind of just like getting settled in, and it was really fun. Like we were exploring San Diego, like just hanging out together. I didn't feel lonely or like that we had moved because I was just with my family. Like,
Yeah.
It felt like home. So that was whatever until I think it hit me the night before school started. Like I was supposed to go to school because I was like, oh my God, like, wait, Mom, like, I don't know anyone here. Like, do not make me go. I remember like crying from being so nervous. And then that first day of school was brutal. Like, I don't really remember too much of starting school, but that first day of school, like, I remember walking into the classroom, and it was a really dark classroom, like low-key depressing. The classrooms at that school were depressing because all the teachers didn't let any light in. Like, it was, they always had their
school in San
curtains.
Diego, but like the windows were.
They
like,
the classrooms, my interior design, like the classrooms had the potential to be so pretty, so bright lit, but they always kept the windows closed. I don't know.
That's
Or
weird.
like the windows
Yeah.
were like really high up, and then like it's a weird.
Like tapaban las ventanas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was like.
It was, I don't know
If
why.
they did have the windows open, they're like really high up, and then like the ceiling wall kind of like is against it. I don't know,
Yeah.
it was weird. It
But-
was weird where the windows were.
That I walk in, my first class was math, right? And I've always, like, math has always been kind of like, okay, I can do this. It's the same everywhere, whatever. And I go in and I'm like, they teach math differently. It's like a whole different course. So they're doing stuff that I did not even realize or like know what the fuck was
Like,
going
no
on.
entendías. Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there and like I was getting frustrated because I couldn't see anything. And then there's a picture of like, this teacher has a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge on the wall, and I was like tearing up in that class, and it's really hard for me to cry. Like if I'm not home, I don't cry.
If she cries, I get scared because I know like something went
Like
wrong.
something happened.
Yeah.
Did anyone notice you crying
No,
in that
I
moment?
was like to myself, I was just like, I just looked down because I didn't want anyone to be like, why are you crying? You know, like this new girl over here crying. So I was just like, and then I hated it.
Did you make friends quickly or no?
Yeah, I think thankfully, like that first day, I was like, this girl started talking to me and I was like, can I hang out with you at lunch? Like, I'm new. I don't want to be lonely at lunch. That shit was going to depress me, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I got to hang out with her, and it took me a little bit to like find my group, But once I did, I was like, okay, like this is cool.
How was it like for you adapting to your new life aquí en San Diego?
So for me, I was in 6th grade. So I was already in middle school because in the Bay, 6th grade, middle school is 6th through 8th.
Yeah.
Down in San Diego, elementary school goes up until 6th grade. And then, so like when I went there, I was like kind of like, dang it, I'm going back to elementary school, you know?
It's all downgraded.
I know, like downgrading, whatever. But like, I feel like it was better for me in order to like make friends. Because like, I go in and it's still that age where everyone's very receptive to like a new person. And so I was like, oh my God, yay, like I have friends, like people.
So tú rápido hiciste amigas.
Yeah, I made friends very quickly. And so me coming home after the first day, I was like, oh, I'm good, like whatever, you know. And then I come into the car and she's like crying to my parents. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Like you're like, I don't want to go back.
Yeah, I hated it.
¿Y qué les dicen sus papás? Like they're like, oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Like, but you guys just gotta like pull through and like go through with it. ¿O qué les dicen sus papás?
My mom felt bad. I mean, my parents felt bad because like they knew they pulled us away from everything. But like I knew I was gonna be okay. It was just hard at first because I had never moved schools. Like the people I went to like 1st grade with, I was in high school with.
Yeah.
You know, it was like my group. So I was just like, I don't know. My mom didn't really know what to tell me. She was like, it gets better because she had moved a lot.
Yeah.
Like, moved around a lot. But yeah, I mean, it did.
Platicamos un poquito de la escuela. How was that for you guys? Do you guys feel like you guys were peleoneras? Did you guys ever get in fights in school?
I got into one altercation.
Why? A ver, explícanos. ¿Qué pasó?
This was in elementary. Yeah, I would think I was in 1st or 2nd grade. And I don't remember what we were arguing about, but this kid is like bullying my friend. She was picking on, it was a guy. I fought a guy, but I didn't fight him. You'll see. But he was just like picking on her. I don't even remember for what, but I just remember telling him like, leave her alone. Like, why are you saying stuff to her? Just like standing up for her. And he pushes me. He's like, stay out of it. Like, I'm not even talking to you. And me being in karate, I fell into a back bend, right? You know, I fell into a back bend.
Me?
I didn't want to fall to the ground. I was like, that was going to be embarrassing. I fell into a back bend and then I get back up. And when I get up, I push kicked him.
Like a whole ass routine?
Yes, I push kicked him to the floor and he fell on the floor. He's like, I'm going to go tell on you. Like, you just hit me. And I was like, I'll tell him you pushed me first. And then he was just like stayed quiet. And I went home and I told my mom what happened just in case I got in trouble. I was like, Mom, I had to kick someone today, but it was because he was bullying my friend first. And she was like, period, mija, like, no te dejaste. He didn't even tell a teacher.
Porque tenía miedo. No le dio vergüenza. Did anyone else see that? Because that would have been embarrassing for me.
I just don't know. It was just like, there was like this big field, right? There was like recess, and it was just me and my friend. And I remember him coming up to her.
Did you feel cool after? You're like, damn, bitch.
No, I was scared I was going to get in trouble. I was like, oh my God.
You're like, fuck, what did I do?
I'm not confrontational at all like that. But it was, I don't know why. He just like, when he touched me, I was like, oh, fuck you. Like, you know?
Did you ever get in fights in school?
I never got into fights. I got into arguments. So, here we go. The biggest one, and I think it was like one of the only ones, this girl, me and my friend, we were talking, and this girl at the time, don't come at me. It was like middle school, so everyone thinks they're the shit, right? And so
this girl did.
Okay, anyways, we're talking, right? And then this girl's like, if you guys are talking about me, say it to my face. And I go, we're not talking about you. We go over to the table because we were like pretty far away. And we go over to the table and I'm like, we're not even talking about you. Like, nothing, like, not everything's about you. Stay out of it. Like, if you really have a problem with it, come and join the conversation. And so I say that.
Damn.
We start arguing, going at it. I obviously won because, like, if you see my mom argue, she is
like,
sassy.
es buena con las palabras?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I don't want to argue with my mom because I did get it from her. Like, my mouth did come from my mother. But, like, it was like, I only got into arguments, and like that was the biggest one, and I felt so good after it. I was like, yeah,
you're like, she ain't gonna mess with me.
Know,
how were you
like,
guys overall in school? Like, do you guys feel like you guys were like super estudiosa? Were you guys kind of like mensita vibes? Like, how was that like academic wise?
My parents were very strict on me academically. Like, I would get my phone taken away if I got a B. And then if a B plus was
B?
Yes, a B plus was like
that's good for me. I mean,
I'm like,
well, at least for me, like my parents, you know how they are with like the older ones are
one,
always more strict. So I think an A was like expected, and like I would come home with straight A's. I'm like, look, Mom, I got straight A's. She's like, good, like that's your job. Like I'm like, oh, okay. She would give me a good job, but like she would like when I would first tell her, she's like, okay, like eso espero. I'm like, all right. But I think B plus, it was like una regañada. B was like, give me your phone.
Me, they definitely loosened up a lot. Because, like, I had A's and B's. Like, typically.
Like nothing. She came home with a C in Spanish. They were
Okay.
like, focus
Okay,
here.
You know what? That teacher, it was my freshman year. And, like, I had freshman year COVID.
Yeah.
And so that teacher, like, nobody got along with that teacher. Like, even my mom, like, got into an altercation with her. That wasn't my first instance with a teacher. Like, it was also one of my film teachers for, like, I had to take an art class. It was, like, required to graduate. It was my junior year. And, like, I literally had gotten a C because we worked in groups. It was a very group-oriented class. And so we, like, for whatever reason, I was always busy during, like, first semester because of cheer and all the practices we had. And so I wasn't able to, like, go and film and everything, but so was nobody else. And so it was only one person that did it, and, like, usually we would cover for each other, you know, like, whatever. But he does this whole thing. We're under the impression, like, oh, he's going to cover for us. He doesn't. He tells the teacher he's the only one that, like, worked on it, and it drops me down to a C.
Because he gave her a 0 for the project.
Yeah, for the project.
Oh, like you and everyone else, or just you?
Just me and everyone else in the group, except for the one guy.
Like the
that
kid
did it.
took complete credit for it, and he threw them under the bus.
Yeah, and so that teacher was a real hard ass. Like, he was hard ass.
That teacher told me I didn't know how to edit, and that my edits were boring.
And look at you now. Wait, so you guys took like computer classes like to edit in high school?
It was like it counted as
Like a
like your
media?
art credit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
it was called
okay.
digital media. So it was like certain periods, like
I got first period, so we had to do the morning bulletin, so like the morning news.
during the bulletin they would have little commercials of like stuff going on around the school. So my class was the one that would film the commercials. Like we would film like a little thing telling kids to pick up their trash. And so that's
And
what
you
I
would do like a little skit of you guys picking it up. That's funny. I had in high school, not in high school, in middle school. In middle school, I took yearbook and a class that was like media, where they taught us how to do, we did the end of the school video, you know, the one that they play like at the graduation. So I kind of got my, I feel like that's when I kind of started like falling in love for like the art of like producing a video. Cause I feel like for me, for YouTube now, I feel like the way I see it kind of like a mini movie. Like a little like reality show, not really a reality show, but I like, you know, how like it's a storyline when you upload a YouTube video. And I feel like de ahí nació eso when I was like in middle school. Estabas contando que originally you guys moved from the Bay Area to San Diego so your parents can pursue their family business. Cuéntenos un poquito más de eso. ¿Cómo empezó esa idea? ¿Cómo fue eso para ustedes? How did it start? What kind of business is it? Cuéntanos.
So the business is a grocery store. And my dad had been working in groceries since he was 16.
Okay.
He started as a bagger and then worked his way up to becoming like a store manager. I feel like if I say it wrong, he's going to be like, you said it wrong, because he's so passionate about it. But he worked his way up, and he was like busting his ass for like these other people. Because like, I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't his store. He was just like busting, and he was really passionate about it. So busting his ass for these other people, and it got to a point where he wasn't really growing anymore. Like, he was just a manager, and then that was that. He eventually got recruited to have his own grocery store by Grocery Outlet, and he was able. He went into training, and then eventually they had to apply, and then they got their own store in San Diego. So that's why we moved. And they started their own little business.
How's that process? Obviamente, because I did see that it was the Grocery Outlet. Was that like a process to get that? Or was it just kind of like they recruited him, they saw him at work one day, and they're like, oh, queremos que él tenga su propio negocio? Or how does that even happen?
I don't know like the full details. That's kind of like what they told me, but he was recruited. I think my dad was like known for like stores that wouldn't do well. He would like raise sales too. Like even when he worked back in the Bay, they would move him around stores because like they knew like, oh, Ruben knows how to merchandise like and like bring it up. So me hyping my dad up. I know he's smiling watching this.
He's gonna be like, you really said that?
Yeah, he's like, oh wow, you talked about me. Yeah. So they just recruited him, and he had to go through like training because like I guess I don't know.
Since it's like his own store and everything. ¿También tu mamá entró al proceso?
Yes. So my dad does more of like the flooring, merchandising. So like deciding what's going to go here, what he wants to put on the end caps, and like how he wants the store to look. And my mom is more of the administrative side. So she does all the payroll, the numbers, the
That's crazy because
the
that's like a
documents.
big grocery store. It's not like
Yes.
your little, hole in the wall grocery store. That's like a big grocery chain. How was that like in the beginning? Sienten cómo fue el proceso? Les dan la tienda. Was it hard for your parents to get in and actually get it moving and running?
So, yes. My parents were told, like, based on like the numbers and studies, the store was in San Isidro, which is like right by the border. Like, you can walk to the border. So there's a lot. We would walk to the border. There was like a lot of foot traffic, and there was already a 99-cent, another grocery store, a 99-cent only store, right in the same thing or same parking lot. So that store was very busy. So when they were like, oh, we're going to open a store right here, like, it's going to do so good. And the first day we opened the store, it did really good. Like, there was a lot of excitement. But that week, like, we started up here and then just it went down. And like, my parents were like low-key panicking because
it's like a big investment.
Yeah, it's a big investment. And so I remember like my mom being like, people aren't coming to the store. Like, what the heck? She started like printing flyers and making little cards of like the offers that they have in the store, and she would go out and she would put it on the cars of like the 99-cent customers cars, and then
like, come over here.
We would go in the car with her, drive around to the neighborhoods nearby and leave little flyers on people's houses, or like even door knock, be like, hey, just want to let you know, like, there's a new grocery store, like, I don't know, marketing, like getting your name out there. That was all my mom. And then it was like we struggled in the beginning a lot, for sure. My parents, like, they would ask me to work like a lot because they couldn't afford to like pay themselves. So they were just like feeding into the store, and like the store like barely made enough to like cover the employees and like everything else. The store expenses. And then my mom would tell me like, hey, I need you to work. Like, please, like, I can't pay you right now, but like, I'll pay you eventually. And I was like, yeah, like, no problem. And she would just tell me like, write down the hours that you're working. And then eventually she did pay me. But it was just crazy because like after school, she would go pick me up and we'd be at the store till like 10 p.m. that night. And then like go home, do your homework. And then, okay, go back to school. Same thing the next day. Weekends, we were there like all day. And me as a cashier,
I would be like doing go backs, spacing, making sure the prices are right. It's little things around the store.
Like little, I don't know, how old were you?
I was like 12.
She can't really do
Was that
much.
cool for you guys though, or did you guys feel it more of like, oh, I don't want to do this, Mom? How was that like? Obviamente you guys were kids at the time. You guys weren't seeing like the bigger picture. Was that like a thing that you guys had where like, girl, I'm not trying to be here on my weekends. I'm trying to chill.
I feel like I knew my parents were struggling. Like, se estaban comiendo los ahorros. Like, thank God my mom, she did real estate before this. She left real estate and like put her all into this with my dad because it was their dream to have their own business. And so when I could tell like they were stressed out about it, I felt bad. I was like, okay, like let me just get in here. I didn't even complain. And at first, not gonna lie, I was really excited to like get in the cashier, and like it was really fun until like I was up there for 12 hours on the weekends, and I was like, Dad, like I want a break. I would go into the office, and since like I would like go take a break at least 10 minutes, because you're supposed to. But my dad would be like, get out there. I'm like, Dad, you're required legally to give me a break. He's like, you're my daughter.
Literally. How was it like for you? Obviamente you were small, you were younger.
Yeah.
Was that like something that you hated doing?
For me, as when I was younger, like obviously at first I'm like excited, oh my God, the store. But like after we were there so much, I was like younger. I didn't understand like what my parents were going through, because my parents have always been very good about not letting us see them struggle.
Yeah.
And like just making it as normal as possible. So I'm grateful for them for that, obviously. But like me being like 12, I didn't understand like what we were going through, and so I would be the one complaining and everything.
Yeah.
And now looking back at it, I was like self-reflection, like I was a brat. Like, oh my God. And so but I understood like, okay, like I'm here, might as well like waste my time not waste my time, but like help them out. Doing like stuff that helps.
Would you guys ever like grab like snacks since it was your guys' store? ¿Se comían los snacks o no los dejaban?
Oh, like you go up there and you pay for your snack.
Oh, you would go and pay for it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we were like taking from the store, we're taking from my parents. So yeah, it was all like, go up there, pay for your stuff. It was also like, don't set a bad example like for everyone else. Like my parents were very much like, just because you're the owner's daughters, like you're not going to be grabbing whatever you want. Like you're not going to be able to like come in and out whenever you want. So
was it cool like in school? Porque obviamente, if you tell your friends like, oh, we own a store, was that ever like cool to say? Or did your friends ever come in and be like, oh, a ver si nos regala algo la Natalie or la Angie?
I wouldn't really tell like anyone. If people asked, I'd be like, oh yeah, like my parents have a grocery store. But I wasn't like, yeah, my parents own this grocery store. Even now, like I don't really say it unless, I don't know.
For me, like, if people would ask and I was like, oh, you want a grocery store, they would just ask me like, oh, you should bring us food or something, like
Yeah.
just joking.
And you're like, you can buy the food.
Like, yeah,
Ah.
You can come
like,
support our business.
yeah. It's actually in San Isidro.
Obviamente, you know, nos cuentas that at the beginning it wasn't doing good in sales. People weren't coming in. Was there a moment where you guys realized like, oh shit, you know, está llegando la gente. People are coming in, buying stuff. Was there a moment you guys remember where that happened for you guys?
It was in a very Hispanic area.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're like very stubborn. Like if we know what we like and like we're not gonna go try new things. So eventually my mom was like, you know what, people aren't coming in because they're not seeing like our offers. Because my mom knew like her prices were good. Like quiero enseñarle las ofertas a la gente, you know? And so she got like a neon bright like cardboard like big ass thing.
Yeah.
And she would write like
about this.
jitomates and like in Spanish too.
Yeah.
Because like the posters and billboards that we had outside, like were all in English.
Yeah.
And this area was like very like everyone spoke Spanish. Yeah. So she would write like jitomates, elotes, like just the offers, and she posted them on the side of the store that faced the busy street. And when she started doing that, people that would walk to the 99-cent or would drive by into the 99-cent would see that and they're like, oh, what's that? And they would come in. And then I was like the head cashier, so they would tell me all the time like, oh my God, like you guys have been here for so long, but it's my first time coming in. Like I didn't know you guys were here. And I'd be like, oh, like what made you come in? And they would tell me the signs outside.
And then another thing they would do is like my dad would set up a tent outside and like just put out like
the groceries outside.
Like the groceries, like the watermelon, the produce, the firewood, like because if you go to a grocery outlet, there's like a lot of everything. And so they would literally put a little bit of everything outside. They would put me outside to like
make sure no one's
like all Girl Scout vibes.
Yeah,
Girl Scout cookies.
And so like they would have me outside, and then I would see people just walking by, reading the offers, and then they see the little tent, they come check it out, and then they walk inside.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God, wow, like I never saw it.
No, that's what was so frustrating because my dad would like order to like make sure the store had everything like you would need because like he would know, right? And his store was like he was so proud of it, and so it was just frustrating for him like seeing no one coming in or like just like everything right there for such a low price, and you're going across the street to buy it when like we have it for sometimes lower.
Yeah.
So yeah, but thankfully like it all picked up after my mom started putting the signs outside. Like so many more people started coming in,
And like word of mouth too.
yes, word of mouth.
Do you guys feel like now it's like a super busy store?
Well, now my parents actually got the opportunity to go for another store. So they ended up moving stores, so that's not their store anymore. But I think it's still doing good. I hope it's still doing good.
Like, y si no, vayan ahorita, amigas.
Go to the Point Loma grocery outlet.
Vayan
That's
y
where my parents are.
compren. Wait, where's it at?
In Point Loma now. It's still in San Diego, but it's more like by the beach.
Do you guys feel like it's like a better store location and overall like space?
It's definitely more busy, but
I think
because
it's-
of the tourist.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's right by the beach, so I feel like it's very different. It's not the same demographic though, so my dad did have to like adapt to the way of ordering and stuff.
Nos
but-
platicas un poquito de que ustedes trabajaron en la tienda, and I feel like whenever I talk to anyone who's ever worked in like retail or like stuff like that, they always have like the craziest stories. What has been like the craziest situation with the customer or in general that you guys have witnessed? Has anyone ever like tried to go in and like rob from you guys, like steal?
Oh, stealing was such an issue. There was these cheeses. They were like, how much are they?
They're like in $7.99, $8, but they were like 2-pound
blocks of cheese.
And
Cheese.
Yeah,
Okay.
like Kobe Jack, Monterey Jack, like cheddar,
pepper
right?
jack, like
People would come in, fill their backpacks with these cheeses.
and it was towards the back of the store too.
Yeah, so they would just go in, fill it up, and then they would leave, and then you would see them like down the street selling these cheeses.
On the trolley. They would tell us on the trolley.
Yeah.
They would be selling it.
Yeah, customers would come up and be like, "Oh, I saw these cheeses being sold on the trolley or whatever." I'm like, "Oh my God, like yeah, those are stolen."
Yeah.
So eventually, my parents had to move the cooler with the cheeses to the front of the store,
No,
and
it wasn't even the cooler. It was like
it was a drink cooler.
Uh-huh.
We used it for the cheeses. And like whenever a customer would want cheese, we'd have to grab it for them because like I mean, I'm telling you, the store was struggling and like it's like okay, a cheese here, a cheese there, but like it was every day.
Every day, multiple. It wasn't just one cheese. It was multiple.
Like hell, like casi todo el stock. Se llevaban
And
casi
it
todo
would
el
add
set.
up. It add up and
Did you guys ever
losses.
get like rude customers to que eras a cashier?
Yes, dude. People would be like mean to me and I had to argue with this lady one time. She was giving me, like, she wanted to buy a bag, right? Because, you know, we have to charge for bags now. And I felt bad because whenever, like, I feel like a lot of people are so used to like, you just give you the bag,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't tell me they wanted a bag, or they would tell me, oh, I don't need a bag. And then at the end they do. So I'm like, okay, like I have to charge
Like
you
after
for
que
it.
pagaron.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And if they were nice to me, I would just give them the bag. But like now I'm like, okay, I have to charge you for it. And I told her, it's like, how much are they? 16 cents. She gives me a dime. And I'm like, oh, ma'am, like this one is 20, or this is worth 10 cents. Like, tiene una cora, like 25. And she's like, that is a quarter. And I was like,
You're like, girl, that's a dime.
yeah. I was like, this is a dime. Like, this is worth 10 cents. She's like, you're going to tell me that I don't know my coins? That's a quarter. I was like, she was already getting mad. I was like, okay, I just gave her the bag.
You're like, bitch, I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
Yo te lo pago.
she's like, and my change? I was like, this is a dime. I'm giving you the bag. Like, have a nice day.
Yeah,
you
yo
know?
te estoy haciendo un paro, no y a ti. Did you ever like struggle with that?
For me, they would put me on the cameras to like see if anyone was stealing.
Yeah.
And because they didn't, I was younger, and so they didn't want to put a 12, 13-year-old in that position to be like, can you give me that bag? Like, it was just not.
How
safe
was
for
it
me,
like,
but,
you know, watching people steal? Did you
watching
ever
it-
see people steal?
Yeah, I would see like, never like anyone could steal. Honestly, we would
like-
see mother-daughter duos.
Yeah,
send-
there would be like moms and like their 5-year-old daughter, and she's like holding the bag open for her
Yeah.
mom. And I'm like, oh my
I can't even act surprised, girl. I used to steal at Target. And I got caught. Like, you guys wouldn't even do anything when you guys would see them? ¿O los dejaban salirse?
it's like, you can't really do much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
we would keep a log on like if they would come back.
yeah, like my parents knew who like the regulars were.
Yeah.
And so like after a certain amount of, like, I think they have to steal a certain amount for like
I
the
think
police
it's
to
like
be able
900,
to
almost
police to be
1,000.
able
And
to
for
do
a
something.
grocery store, no one's gonna walk out with like $900 worth of groceries.
Yeah.
Yo me acuerdo cuando me cacharon a mí en Target, I was in high school at the time, and I was actually stealing makeup. Because at the time, I wasn't even out of the closet, y mis papás todavía no sabían que me maquillaba. So, like, I didn't want to ask them, one, for money, because, like I said, like, nos estaban casi corriendo de nuestra casa. So I was like, fuck it. Like, a Target no le va a pesar que agarre unas cositas prestadas.
A girl gotta do what she gotta
No,
do.
I did it so much. Like, I'm not even proud of this. I'm like, si ustedes hacen eso, amigas, no lo hagan. Y me acuerdo que cuando me cacharon, I was actually hitting like my third like Target that day. Ya me creía bien pro, throwing in things in my little gym bag because I used to do it in a gym bag. Y I'm y'all showing you guys all the tips and tricks, pero no lo hagan, amigas, porque luego quedé multado yo. And I remember as I was walking out, I was all proud, right? I was like, oh my God, like I got this. Me paró un muchacho, un señor. He wasn't even dressed as security. He was just like a normal guy.
Oh, undercover.
Undercover. And he was like, you need to come with me. And I was like, for what? And I was like, oh, I saw that you were stealing. Y yo me paniqué. I think I was like 16 at the time. And I was like, no, I'm not stealing. Like, I'm not stealing. He's like, I saw what you put in your bag. You have this like literally by name. I don't know what kind of fucking cameras Target has.
You have the Maybelline Fit Me.
I swear to God, like when they showed me everything, they were able to zoom in because cuando yo saqué todo, I was like, no voy a sacar todo porque luego me van a multar más. So yo saqué como unas 4 o 5 cositas and I was like, oh, like this is it. Like let me go.
They're all opening
they're
the
like, oh,
bag.
you need this. Like tenían la lista de todo lo que me había robado. And I remember at first, since I was underage, they were going to call my mom, pero yo no quería que le llamara a mi mamá. Imagínate, I was lying. I was like, oh, I'm 18. And they're like, oh, well, then if you're 18, we're going to call the cops. And I was like, I know, pero prefiero que me regañe mi mamá que me agarre la pinche policía. So I remember when I went back, you know, everything happened. I ended up getting like written down. I couldn't go to that Target for like a year, I think. I was like, you know, they didn't allow me in. And my mom ended up getting multada. But I feel like at the time I would do it because I didn't see how it would affect the business. Obviamente Target, like there's such a big corporation, but like a family owned business, like when people steal, it really does affect. Cuando tus papás y obviamente ustedes miraban eso, how would that make you guys feel?
It would make my mom or like my parents mad, and sometimes they would try and get the stuff back because like there would be people that would load up their bags, and so my mom would tell me like when this lady comes up, like they would come up and they would pay for like one thing and then they would leave with everything. So my mom was like, when you ring her up, tell her that you want to scan everything in her bag too. And I'm like, Mom, like
Wait, in her personal bag or?
yeah, like
Yeah, personal bag.
People would like put like they have the shopping cart and then they would put their bags in the front and then they would hold it open, so then they would just like drop it in like casually.
And then my mom, like, I remember this story. This lady, she's like coming up and she asked for like a box. And like for us, okay, some people like want boxes.
This lady
whatever.
was smart, bro. Okay, keep
And
going.
so she asked for a box, and then like she asked for 1 or 2 boxes.
I think it was 2 empty boxes.
2 empty boxes. And so
Right.
we usually think, okay, they're gonna like at Costco they use boxes as their bags, and so she has them like flipped over, kind of like covering each other, and inside the boxes she had like
a full case of Spam.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember this so vividly. She had a full case of Spam, and she arranged the 2 boxes to make it look like they were just in her car empty.
Yeah.
So, like, you would see the boxes and you didn't think anything of it. And my mom goes up there because she was watching her, and she, like, moves the boxes, and it's a full case of just, like,
Spam.
2 rows, like,
¿Y qué dijo la
of
señora?
She was like, and then she left it, obviously.
Yeah.
Or she's like, oh, I'm going to go grab my wallet to pay. I forgot it in the car, and she just left.
Yeah, and then it got so bad to the point, like, where we would have, my parents got, like, this kind of cage.
Like a locker.
Situation.
Yeah.
So when people came in, they had to leave their
Bags
bags
there.
at the front.
And it would be like a ticket exchange. So,
Yeah.
like, your bag is number 6, here's the number 6 tag.
Es que la
And when you
gente
come
sí se
back-
pasa. Like,
Yeah.
la gente se pasa. Yo me acuerdo when I was young, they used to take care of me. I actually stopped going to get taken care of by this lady because yo tenía como unos 10, 12 años. They used to take care of me. Y esta señora ya era experta. Ella ya tenía a ella y a sus hijos trained to, like, steal. They would steal at Kohl's. Y me acuerdo que ellas iban y yo con miedo because I wouldn't do it because I was just kind of like tagging along because they would take care of me. Y me acuerdo que she would make her kids kind of go with like very baggy clothing. She would take like those really big bags, like a Louis Vuitton, you know, like with nothing in it. Y me acuerdo que íbamos a la Kohl's, and obviously in the fitting rooms, you can't like have cameras there, right? So like ella agarraba un chingo de ropa en el carrito, like jewelry, she would put it in her bag. But when we would go into like the fitting room, los niños se ponían la ropa under and they would put their really baggy shirt over and they would walk out like that. Yo me acuerdo que yo tenía como unos 10, 12 años y yo me asusté y le dije a mi mamá lo que estaba pasando y mi mom ya nunca me volvió a dejar con esa señora. Like that's when I started kind of staying alone because my mom was like, no, mejor prefiero que estés aquí solito que andes haciendo cosas que yo ni sé. And it is crazy because there's a lot of people that like go and steal sin saber el daño que le hace a uno.
It would be sad though because like you could tell like there would be like the homeless in the area who would come in, like they would steal like a banana, like food, like they were hungry. And so that's the times my parents would like give them food and stuff. But when it was like a lady or like someone that you know is doing it like maliciously, it was
y
like,
pasándose de verga, where it's like, oh, come on, okay? Róbate una cosa y paga por lo demás, but like you're over here buying like one little thing and trying to come up on everything else. Hablamos un poquito del negocio, and obviously, you know, this being your guys' family business, do you guys want to like eventually take it over, run it, or do you guys feel like that's not what you guys want to do for your guys' future?
I don't have a passion for grocery like that, so I wouldn't want to take it over. Do you, Angie?
I wouldn't want to. It's not like what I'm into. I rather the business go into good hands where I know somebody's
Someone
gonna take
else.
care of it than me take care of it, but like I'll be unhappy.
Do you guys ever have combos like this, like as a family?
My parents know that like that's not our passion, so like they kind of know like they're gonna hand it off to like someone else,
Like
or,
sell it or something.
yeah, or like grocery outlet like kind of takes care of it. Because my parents eventually like want to retire, they kind of do everything.
And I feel like
think.
that's good.
I don't know
tus
how it
papás.
works.
I feel like that's good that your parents are like allowing you guys to like do whatever you guys want with your dreams, because I feel like it happens a lot, especially with family businesses. You know, the parents work so hard and they're like, no quiero que aquí termine. Like, I want my kids to take it over. And like you guys said, sometimes that's not like your guys' career goals. Maybe that's not something you guys want to do. So it's really nice that your parents understand both of you guys and like know that like when the time comes, they don't expect you guys to take over.
Talking about like family businesses, my grandma actually has her own store in Tapachula, Chiapas. You know how I said we would go visit her every summer? She started a little mercadito. It was at the time it was the only one in the area. And so it started off just like chips, like little stuff, and then eventually she got a little carniceria. It's literally like the size of like this studio.
Like
it's
a
tiny.
whole like a little grocery store.
Yeah, it was the bottom floor of the house. Yeah. So eventually she got a carniceria, and then she would get like fresh chickens delivered every morning, and then like fresh produce.
Yeah.
So she like built up this little store. But my mom growing up, my grandma would make her sit, and like if you want to go out, you need to like be in the store for 6 hours. Me barres la calle y la tienda y me lo trapeas, you know? And so my mom hated having to work in the store like that. So when she went off to college, she went to the furthest college like she could get.
Chiapas to Mexico City.
Yeah.
Shit.
She left home completely, and she studied what?
Biomedical engineering.
My mom like studied biomedical engineering.
She worked for Abbott.
Yeah. Completely like away from grocery, and then she ended up like, my dad's like, I want to have my own grocery store, and there she is. She knew it was like for the family, and she knew like it was like, or hoped and like worked for it to be successful. So she knew like it was for the family, and like I don't know.
She's passionate because it gives her the freedom that she always wanted.
She always wanted to own her own business, so the grocery store was gonna allow her to do that. And she went with that. But my mom did everything. Like
she's like a Barbie doll. She did biomedical engineering. She did karate. She was a real estate agent. She now owns a business, and then she does
TikTok.
Literally, like everything. That's crazy. I didn't know about that. I just thought like you guys kind of started like the whole. You guys were always in the grocery like business y todo eso, but I didn't know your mom tuvo como 10 vidas y uno ni cuenta.
Yes, dude.
That's crazy. Obviamente vieron todo lo que pasaron tus papás. What's a piece of advice you guys can give to any small business owner that's trying to make it y a veces se sienten como que su business isn't growing or isn't going anywhere?
I can't give advice from like, I don't know what my parents would do, but as like the daughters of parents who are trying to start a business, like help them out in any way you can. Yeah. It's going to be hard in the beginning. But hopefully like with hard work, you guys can make it like through it. And now getting to see like my parents have more freedom, like honestly, like if it weren't for the business, my parents wouldn't be able to like spend as much time with us, and like the trips we get to go on, like opportunities we get with social media, they wouldn't be able to like just like, no one can just leave their job like that and go on a trip for a week. Like when we went to Vegas for the Super Bowl,
it gives them a lot of freedom.
A lot of freedom.
So I'm grateful for that. So just stick it through and be supportive of your family, and that's the advice.
Good karma. As daughters, like just be supportive, because in the long run, like it'll benefit, like good karma. Like
a veces uno piensa que it's going to take up too much time, but like you said, your parents worked so hard for a lot of years que ahora ya pueden disfrutar de todo el trabajo que han hecho, because now, like you said, they have the freedom to do everything and anything they want whenever they have, because they have that freedom. Today's episode is brought to you by Alma. Alma believes that therapy is more impactful when you feel heard and understood. That's why they help people find a therapist who really gets them, the right someone to talk to, not just anyone. Alma can help you find a therapist who gets you. When you browse the directory, you can filter by what you want to focus on, for example, anxiety, relationship, or big life transitions, as well as any preference around gender, sexuality, faith, and more. Alma can help you find a therapist who takes your insurance. People who find in-network care through Alma save an average of 77% on the cost of therapy. It's easy to get started with Alma. Browse the directory without creating an account or sharing payment information. You can book a free consultation call with any therapist you're interested in seeing. These 15-minute calls give you a chance to see if they're a good fit for you, so you can find someone you really click with. Even though I'm currently not in therapy, I know the importance of having someone in my life who truly understands where I'm coming from. For those of you guys that follow me, obviamente ustedes saben that the past month and a half has been one of the hardest months of my life, and going through everything I've been through this past month with my grandpa's passing, I wish I could have been in therapy prior and during the process to really help me kind of navigate these feelings of grief y todo lo que he estado sintiendo este último mes, amigas. Pero no es muy tarde to join therapy. If you've been considering finding a licensed professional to help you work through your own life challenges, give Alma a try. Alma can help you find the right therapist for you, not just anyone. Visit helloalma.com/Alan to get started and schedule a free consultation today. That's helloalma.com/Alan. Quiero platicar del amor, quiero platicar. ¿Con quién empezamos? Vamos a empezar con Natalie. Tú tienes un novio, ya tienen que 4 o 5 años juntos, ya van para 5 años. Yo quiero platicar un poquito de eso. ¿Cómo se conocieron? Who made the first move? Cuéntanos, amiga.
Okay, so my boyfriend Harrison, oh my God, why am I blushing? I feel myself blushing.
You were blushing?
I know.
God.
She's gonna.
Okay. Like, babe, you really love me. I already know how their conversations go.
Shut up.
Does that sound exactly like that?
Third wheel.
I am such a third wheel.
We went to school at Santa Clara High School in Santa Clara, and I knew of him because like we had mutual friends, but he would never talk to me, because he told me he thought I was ugly. And I thought he was ugly too, okay? I thought he was so annoying, but all my friends or like girls, like acquaintances were like, Harrison this, Harrison that. Oh my God. I remember him like dating like some girl in PE, and like the day they broke up, she was crying, and then like the next week he was talking to like my other friends. So I was just
So
like,
era bien mujeriego. Or
it was only, yes and no. He was friendly with a lot of girls.
Yeah, okay,
like
okay,
a lot
okay.
of the girls knew him, and I was just like, ew, like that's kind of annoying. Like you're kind of weird. And then I didn't. Everyone was like, he's so cute. I did not think he was cute. Okay,
Like you got the ick from him.
yes, he
because
gave
of
me
that.
the ick.
Yeah.
I would walk home every day from school, and he would ride his bike home too. Like we lived down the street from each other. We didn't even know, and he would ride his bike home and like zoom home. But me, like, I already didn't like him, so I would see him zooming past me on the sidewalk, and I'm like, ew, he thinks he's the shit. Like, that's so annoying. I did not like him. And so when I told one of my friends, hey, I'm moving to San Diego, she's like, oh my God, like, my friend Harrison is also moving. Like, you guys should talk. And I was like, oh, yeah. Like, hella blew it off.
Yeah.
And so then I remember posting, like, was going to the school dance. They had like a winter ball, and I posted my ticket because, like, you know, you would get your ticket, you post it, let everyone know you're going. And he slid up, and I remember him trying to make small talk with me, but I was like, haha, yeah, like super dry, right? And so we finally move, and he I remember going to the office.
Before?
Yeah, I remember going
God.
to the office to get like my paperwork to move, and they're like, oh, where are you moving to? San Diego. And then they're like, oh, we have another student also moving to San Diego. I was like, I knew he was
Yeah.
moving too, so I was like, whatever. And so we finally move. I'm like setting up my new room, and I get a text from him. I can't remember if this was before. No, I think this was before we moved. I was like packing or something. He's like, hey, I heard you're also moving to San Diego. Like, we should hang out. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like I said, like AYY, yeah, for sure.
You're
Like
not
sent it to
happy.
him, yeah, just completely blew him off, whatever. That was 2 years go by. We never hang out, never talk. And then I'm like on Snapchat, and I see him on someone's story. And I tell one of my friends, I was like, oh my God, like he got cute, like he glue up.
You're like, maybe he ain't that ugly.
Yeah, I was like, wait. So I went, this was New Year's Day. I go to his Instagram, and we were already following each other. So I was like, I don't want to pull the first move. I'm not going to DM him. Like, no. So I unfollow him, and I followed him back. Like, literally
Pa que se
right
diera
there.
cuenta.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he would see my name. And 30 minutes later, this man is in my DMs. And
¿Qué
we
te
have
dijo?
talked.
Do you remember?
Yes. What'd he say? He's like, hey, Natalie, like, how are you doing? Like, super casual.
Yeah.
But like ever since that day, we've talked.
Did you guys go to the same school in San Diego or nada que ver?
He lives like 40 minutes, like an hour. No, now it's like an hour away.
You were what, like a senior when you guys started dating, or qué era?
It was December. December 2020. Or no.
It was your senior year.
Yeah.
Early senior year.
Yeah, he texted me New Year's Eve of 2019. So literally January 1st, like we were talking.
Empezaste el año with new boo y todo. How
Yes,
did
like
you guys
those
make it
grapes that I
official?
ate at midnight.
You're like, they
were
turned true.
not working. They
You're
were
like, I hope he asks me out. How did he ask you out? ¿Cómo pasó from like talking and like being with each other 24/7 to like actually dating? How did that happen?
Okay, so we would talk all the time. After that, we were talking all the time, and eventually we were just texting, and then he just like tells me, "Hey, you should go to my school dance with me." He told me that he asked me as a joke, and I said yes as a joke, like thinking it was never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right. So he's like, "Come to my school dance with me." I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And he's like, "Wait, are you for real?" And I was like, "Were you for real?" He's like, "No, but like I'm really down to go with you. Like, let's go." And I was like, "Okay." So he like gets the ticket for me. We get it all situated, and the dance was February 2nd. So we had been talking since January 1st. And I was like, wait, we're going to go to the dance together. We should probably hang out before. Like
So
I
it
know
won't be
you.
awkward. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I know you, but like we went to the same school, but like I don't know you, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, like what should we do? I was like, let's go to the zoo, you know? So we go to the zoo, and at this point we were still like friends. Like we literally just talking on Snapchat. And then I remember him trying to get my number at the zoo. Like this man didn't even have my number. He was like, yeah, we should FaceTime. And I was like, yeah. But it totally blew over my head that he was trying to get my number. So we were just like talking, whatever. The zoo was fun and nothing happened. That night we were like FaceTiming, and like we just like FaceTimed all the time. We were talking every day since. And then eventually like we kind of caught feelings from the zoo to like the dance. It was like 2 weeks. And at the dance, like
He asked you out.
well, he never asked me out officially. Formally. Like we kind of just started dating.
Like it was just like, oh, we're together.
Yeah.
We're a thing.
Like we knew we were exclusive. It kind of just fell into it, and then it became a thing. I was like, you know what? Like we kind of just started dating, but you never told me that
Like we
ask
don't even have a date.
Like, you didn't officially ask me. Well, we count February 2nd.
Okay, so that's your guys' like
Yeah.
anniversary. That's
what
crazy.
we count it as. We never made it official, but we were like hanging out every day. It was like COVID had just happened, right? February 2020. It was like right before everything shut down. So COVID happens, and this man is like at my house like all the time.
All the time. I would get sick of him because
Yeah, she would get mad. She was like kind of mad at him.
yeah, because like I love him, whatever, right? But like
Not the whatever.
whatever.
She's like, I
Don't
guess.
be feeling yourself. Don't be feeling yourself. Anyways, but I would during that time I was like, who is this person? Like he's taking all my sister's time. Like he's always at his house and I was always at home, and I was like, I don't like this, like, you know. And so whenever he would come over, I would be a little passive aggressive, but like it's
That comes with being the little sister,
Yeah.
because even though you didn't want to be around her for too much, like you're like, ya ahora ya ni me hace caso.
I know,
Ya
I
ni
would
pa
get-
pelear tengo a alguien,
I
because you're too
know.
busy having a boyfriend.
I would
Yeah.
get possessive. I feel like I had like a little bit like she's
Jealousy,
my
son los
sister, like-
celos de hermana, yeah.
So he would come over all the time, and since he lived like 40 minutes away, I remember he would get driven like to my house, and then like sometimes like his parent would like come like drive an hour with him to come pick me up, and then an hour back, and then we would just hang out at his house some days, and then that night like his parent would drive us back home
Oh,
an hour and then
shit.
go back. Like yeah.
So your guys' parents are really like for the relationship.
Yeah.
Oh my
Because
God,
I'm like, girl, like at 17, 16, I'm like, I know, mija, tú lo miras por el teléfono y ya.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was going on, and then eventually he was at my house, and then I remember one night my parents were like, why don't you just sleep over? Like, you
Yeah.
live an hour away, you guys have been together for like a little bit now, and like my parents could tell he was a good kid. They had met his dad at this point, and so they were like, Harrison was like, well, yeah, and I was like, y'all are about to let him sleep over? And like he did.
I remember that night.
Yeah, we like
How
stayed
was
up.
that for you as a sister? You're like, ay, no, ya se quiere mudar acá.
That was the beginning of before he like that was like the first time he slept over. I was like, okay, yeah, this is exciting. He
She
literally
hadn't
borrowed
felt like mad about him being over yet.
not yet. But like it was like exciting for me because I was like, oh, he's fun to be around.
Yeah.
And like he literally borrowed my sweats because I had some big sweats that like fit him. And then we played Sorry and Uno that night.
Yeah.
And then she would come to my room to sleep.
Yeah, my mom was like, he can sleep over, but you need to sleep in your sister's room, and then he can sleep in your bed.
Oh, so no dormían
No,
juntos.
oh my God,
okay,
no.
okay. I was like, damn, your parents really liked
no.
it.
Till this day, like when he sleeps over, like he sleeps in my room, and my mom's like, "Te vas a tu cuarto," and I'll be like in her room.
Yeah.
And you're like, ay, ama. It's been 4 years.
I
It's crazy because yo
literally-
también así, yo con mi novio, I've been together with him 8 years, right? We've been together since high school. I met him that senior year cuando me mudé para allá. And I started sleeping over every single day in his house, like towards the end of senior year. And then by the time we had graduated, pasaron como 2 meses, and his mom was like, oh, why doesn't he just move in? And I started living with my boyfriend literally like 2 months after. Do you guys
my
have
God.
plans of living together, or
I-
is that like in the talks?
We do want to move in together eventually. I want to like a ring on my finger, and I want to get married before I move in. I don't know. I know he wants to move in before that, so I think we're gonna have to compromise of like, I don't know, like
maybe
and maybe engagement moved in
or
together.
promise ring, chingue su
At
madre, lo que
least
sea.
the
Ay,
promise
apúrate,
ring.
amigo.
Since we were together all the time for like in COVID, he started sleeping over, and like he would sleep over for like 4 days at a time, 5 days at a time. He
That's
would-
when I would start getting annoyed of him.
yeah.
Ya vete a tu casa.
Yeah, literally.
You're like, you're here all the time. Like, basically, like,
Yeah.
you have your own room here. Like, literally, like, go home.
You like pay rent already.
I would
know.
sleep over for like 4 days, go home for 2, be back for another 5, like at my house all the time. My parents didn't mind it because they liked that I was home.
Yeah.
And then eventually I started, like, I got my license, I bought my own car, and then I started driving to his house all the time. So that's when my mom was kind of like, hey, you need to be home, because I would be leaving her at
Yeah.
home all the time by herself. So my mom kind of felt bad that she was being left lonely. So that's when I stopped going over there as much. And now he comes over all the time now. Like, I never have to drive. But it was a little hard. Like I said, we were together when, like, COVID, all that time. But he had to eventually, like, back to school came, and then he started working, and we couldn't be together as much. Like, when the relationship started, we only knew how to be together. We didn't know how to be apart. So it was a lot of learning how to communicate our feelings and missing each other, and like knowing that like if we argue because we haven't seen each other in a while, we need to understand it's just because we miss each other. And like communication is such a big
I think that is my next question is, what do you think is like the key to a successful and healthy long relationship?
Communication. I know it sounds cheesy and I feel like everyone says that, but communication for sure. Because like at the end of the day, if you guys like can make it through your biggest like problems and fights by just talking it out, like that's what's really important. Because I know like sometimes when people feel like conflict, like they could just close off and just like run away from it. But thankfully, like we know how to talk through it and like smooth it out.
Communication is a big deal, just because I always say this, like these are two different people that grew up differently, that have different mindsets. And if you can't communicate, then the relationship isn't going to work. Hablamos de ti, pero yo quiero saber cómo le va a Angie en el amor. Amiga, cuéntanos.
So for me, like every time I've been in some sort of like talking stage or like situationship or whatever, like it's never ended well. Like it's always been so abrupt, so like out of nowhere, and like it really did affect, the first one really did affect how I view relationships and like how much I let myself go.
¿Por qué?
Because anytime like I just felt like emotionally, the first time it just like it was just such a stab. Like stab in the back, I feel like, or how does it back?
You were backstabbed? Yeah,
backstabbed or whatever, like threw under the bus or whatever. Like, it was just like, I hated how it felt and how blindsided I felt, that I just like taught me to like, if you know somebody wants something, close yourself off. Because you don't want to get hurt. And like, it really did affect it. And so like now, like anytime like I've been in a like talking like
stage or like getting to know someone.
Getting to know someone, I just like, as soon as I like realize like, oh shit, they like me, I'm like walls up so hard, and I get awkward. I don't like text as much. I'm like so like, oh my god,
and I'm just like she wouldn't even realize like this guy likes her or whatever, or like a guy.
So oblivious to
She's
it.
very oblivious. I'm like, Angie, like they like you, like he's doing this for you, like they like you. And she's like, oh, and that's when she's like, bye, you know?
Yeah. And so like I think just that first situation,
¿Qué pasó en esa situación? Cuéntanos.
it took me a lot to like even talk about it to my sister, because my sister didn't even know about it until after.
Oh shit.
And
so it was like that bad.
We were flirty in person. Everything was in person, but never texted, never nothing. So I was kind of like, what is this? And at the time, like the term situationship had not come up. And so I was like, once it came up, I was like, oh, like now
like, that's what that is.
That's what it is. Or a confusionship. Have you heard that? That's like
I have not. Is that a new one? Damn, they keep adding new ones all the time.
I know.
TikTok.
What is that?
Oh my god, I feel so old.
Confusionship.
She's telling us like terms.
Yeah,
like,
what is
I
that?
saw one
Is
TikTok
that what you
about
had, confusionship?
I guess so, because I was blindsided so hard. Like
I've heard situationship, which is like a new term, like maybe like the last maybe 2-3 years, but I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I just saw it like on TikTok, and I was like, wait, that's even better. Like confusionship, I will raise my hand so high up. But yeah, it was definitely like confusing because I thought it was like two-way, you know? But pops out with a girlfriend at a party, and I'm like, oh.
And you saw this in person?
I saw it in person. I
Te escondiste.
No, I saw her that day.
Yeah.
That is
like,
so awkward. Y tú como de que, güey, yo pensé que tú y yo teníamos algo or something.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. And so like that day I was just like that day, since it was like the first thing, I was like,
like not good.
Completely changed how I view relationships.
How do you feel like it changed your view on relationships?
I feel like I have to be very barriers up whenever I get to know someone. And like, I need, like, if we're talking, like, it sounds like really like needy, but I do feel like I need to know, like, if you're talking to someone else, let me know. And now I'm just like, if I know anyone's likes me, I'm like, oh, okay.
If you can check a list of like, you gotta have this, what is the ideal man for Angie?
Realistically, not like NFL boyfriend.
Oh, obviously not. Like for me,
she's like WWE wrestler.
like athletic. I'm just kidding. No, like for me, like even though it's a joke, like the NFL man, like if it happens, it happens.
Oh
but, like,
my gosh.
no, realistically, like I do not care for that. Just like you're honest, loyal, I can trust you, and communicate well.
You as a sister, ¿cómo te hace sentir, knowing everything she's gone through, especially with relationships? Do you ever feel for her, especially because you see her going through shit?
I know she could have anyone she wants. Like, she's a nice person and like a beautiful girl. Not me hyping you up.
I know.
Just like,
Damn.
like she could have like anyone she wants if she let herself open up.
Yeah.
And I know, like, even if I did let myself into another, like, relationship or whatever, I don't even want to call it a relationship because it wasn't. But, like, if I were to ever get myself involved with someone else again, like, I don't know how it feels to, like, end on good terms. And so,
What do
like,
you mean?
like, if anything in the middle, like, if it was all good, like, during it,
Oh,
the endings have always been so abrupt.
So
and
you're like,
so
I don't even
awful.
want to get to the ending, like, so I won't even start this.
I won't even start it. Exactly. You know who you are. And you can honestly, I'm still waiting on the closure. So
Period.
You better apologize.
I'm like, ahorita. Oye, en persona, ¿eh? Ya para casi terminar estas pláticas que tenemos el día de hoy, yo quiero saber cómo empezó todo. Obviamente, ahorita las miramos all over social media, YouTube, TikTok, todo. Yo quiero saber cómo empezó todo esto.
Ever since I was little, okay, my parents had this little camcorder, the ones that you hold like this, and then the little thing flips out. My parents had one of those, and I would always be recording everything. So my mom was just like, I always saw me like talking to the camera, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. That's how I'd be entertained. And then I feel like our generation was like the first one to grow up watching like YouTubers, like Bethany Moda, Alicia Marie, Remy. I don't know. I feel like Louis too. Like I grew up watching Louis and them. So like I would watch them and I'd be like, that's what I want to do. Like I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be an influencer. And my mom was kind of like,
yes, okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to do that? Whatever. She was just supportive. She's like, yeah, mija, like, you're going to do it. But I knew, like, everyone around me was like, okay.
She was just like, es un pasatiempo. Like, get her entertained. Like, nothing's going to happen. Yeah.
That happens. And then I would always, even too, that's why I have all the videos, like, in my Snap, old videos of us. It's because I would always be recording. Even, I didn't.
All the time.
Yeah, just for myself. Like, I would just save them and I would have them because I liked doing it. Like, it was just always so natural to me. So when TikTok came out, and it was like, it was still when it was cringy to post TikToks, right? Like, you remember when you would see, you
I hate it when it transitioned from Musical.ly to like TikTok.
Oh, I was all over Musical.ly. Like, I really wanted like that crown.
Oh, you loved the Musical.ly?
Yeah, I would make my little video.
She was her.
But I never got anywhere with that. Okay. Then it transitions to like TikTok, and it was cringe to post on there. But I had made one, and I had kept it in my drafts for the longest time. And it was literally like a relatable video. It was like your headphones. You know how you put your headphones in your pocket and they come out all tangled? I made a video like your headphones in your pocket, and it was me dancing all weird because, like, you know how they get
like you're
tangled?
the pocket? Yeah, you're in the pocket.
I'm the headphones in the pocket, if that makes sense.
Her head all around.
Yeah, so I made that TikTok, and I kept it in my drafts, and then I showed it to my cousin when, like, she was at my house, and I was like, is this funny? She's like, oh my God, you should post that. Like, that's funny. And I was like, okay. So I posted it. I put my phone down. I didn't think anything of it. And then, like, a couple hours later, it was like 16,000 likes. I was like,
how was that like?
Was like,
16,000 likes. Damn.
And it kept going. Like, it fucking blew up. And I was like, oh my God, okay, whatever. And then I would just like keep making my little videos like that, like relatable of just me.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is fun. I got to like 500,000 followers like that. And then I started, like, one day my parents were like arguing or something, and I just like started recording them. I edited it together, and then it was just like,
they love the family aspect. Yeah,
they love the family content of it. And I was like, all right, like, I didn't think like I'm just gonna do this now. Like, I would still make my own content too, but I would just like throw it in there more. Eventually it took over my account. Now it's just all family stuff. And
did you change the username afterwards?
Yes. My username was Natalie Aguilar for the longest time, until finally I was like, well, this is like me and my family, so I'm gonna say Natalie and the Aguilars, because I think the Aguilars was already taken. And then I like all my socials that were my personal ones, I moved it to like be the family, and then I restarted my personal socials. So follow me on my socials.
How was that like, obviamente, for your family and yourself? Like, did you tell your parents and your sister, like, hey, you know what? People love us. We're going to start doing content. ¿Cómo lo tomaron ellos? And what was that like?
I didn't really tell them, or like, they knew I was recording and they knew I was posting it, but they didn't care because they didn't think people were actually watching it until people started coming up to us in person. And they were like, I saw your video. And my dad was like, hold on, how many actual followers do you have on there? And I don't know, I think I was still like 700, 800,000.
Oh shit. So he's like, oh shit, that's a whole lot of people.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck? So he was just like, all right, like they were always very supportive. I mean, they didn't mind. I wasn't like, everything I record and all my content is just stuff that's already happening at home. So like, I'm not inconveniencing them and being like, let's make this TikTok, you know? It's just like, it's already happening. Like, I'm just going to record and edit it, and they're cool with it. So how is it for you though?
Yeah, how was it for you? Because obviously you started it and you kind of got pulled into this, being exposed to so many people. How was that like for you?
So for me, like, I didn't realize like how many people had watched until like people at school started coming up to me and be like, oh, I saw your video. And I'm like, what do you mean video? Like, for me, it still takes me, like, even to this day, like, if you come up to me and you're like, oh my God, I saw this TikTok and everything, I'm like, what TikTok?
You're like, she uploaded that?
I know. I was like, huh? Because I'm just living my life, and then she's recording it. Like, sometimes I don't even notice she's recording. And then...
But now I show you all the videos before I post them.
No, I know. But I, like, forget, like, I don't remember.
Like, this can be a potential TikTok. Yeah. Like, they're just living life is what you're saying. Yeah.
She'll edit them sometimes and then not post it. Or, like, save it for later.
Yeah.
And so, like, whenever they bring up something, I'll be like, oh, like, to me, I'll be like, oh yeah, she posted that, and I'll start talking whatever. But like, it was just like, it was cool, but cool to see like people actually watch her stuff.
Did people
like,
in school start treating you like differently? Like, ahí viene la famosa. How was that like in school?
In school, I feel like people like, they would bring it up the first time they see it. And they'd be like, oh, your sister does TikTok and everything. And then, like, if they're in my classes all the time, like, they won't bring it up all the time. But, it'll just be, like, a known elephant in the room.
Did you like that, though, like, in school?
I didn't mind it. The only thing that would, like, kind of bother me is, like, if my teacher saw it. And I'd be like, oh, like... Because then I'm like, wait, you saw me, like, when I was, like, at home, like, not being a perfect little student here?
You're like, you saw me acting up?
I know. I was like, girl. Anyways, but, like, all the teachers that have seen it, like, they're all my chill teachers. Like, I know I'm cool with them. Like, I have fun with them.
I was kind of doing social media while I was in school, and it was kind of, like, annoying because, like, you kind of didn't know if people wanted to be your friends because they genuinely wanted to be your friends or because they saw that you were, like, popular online. Did that happen to you?
Yeah, for me, like, if somebody came up to me first time ever talking to you and they're like, oh, I saw your TikTok video, I will know to, like, put up a little barrier. Because then I'm like, okay, I'll be cool with you and I'll be chill with you and I'll talk to you about it. But, like, you're not going to ever, like, get too much.
You didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know their intentions.
Yeah, I didn't know their intentions, exactly. So I was like, okay, I had my guard up a bit more.
Hablamos un poquito de esto. You know, you guys start doing social media. You guys start blowing up. What was your guys' like aha moment where you're like, you know what? We can actually do this full time. Did you guys have like a big collab or like your guys' first like, you know, paycheck or whatever it was that you guys felt like, oh, you know what? Like I can do this like as a career.
My first big one where I was like, oh my God, was when we got to work with Samsung. I think this was in like 2021. For Mother's Day. I did a whole Mother's Day campaign with them and my mom, using like their new phone. And like that one, I was like, oh, like this is how people make a living. Like, wow, this is crazy. And then when I told my mom, she was like, oh my God, because my mom, when I would make my TikToks, like in the beginning, she would ask me to make, she'd be like, oh, ven a hacerme los trastes, you know? And I'd be like, okay, one sec, like I'm filming a TikTok.
Yeah.
Deja esos videos ahí, like, un día cuando te paguen por hacer esos videos, puedes dejar los trastes y ponerte a hacer tus videitos ahí. Pero ¿sabes qué? Ahorita te estoy pidiendo que hagas los trastes, like, ven a hacerme los trastes. Not that she wasn't supportive, but she just was trying to get the dishes done.
And also
like,
she didn't think it was that serious.
Yeah.
She's like, girl, you have too much free time. Like, get back in here. Yeah.
So she was just like, come do the dishes. But I was like, okay, one day when they pay me, she's like, yeah, un día que te paguen, you know? And then when that came around, she was like, honey, you never have to do the dishes ever again.
They gave you guys the phone for free too? The Samsung
yes,
phone?
They gave
That's
us two.
Crazy.
I gave it to my grandma. That's my grandma's phone now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
My grandma and my uncle have
because I feel like you guys get a lot of cool sponsorships. I see you guys doing like Amazon. You said you guys went to the Super Bowl. Did they take you guys?
The Amazon was another aha moment where it was like,
so was Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl and Amazon were my like, holy crap.
How did you guys get approached for the Super Bowl?
So that one, we know the Niners were going to the Super Bowl, and we love the Niners. We love you 49ers. Like, you guys know we're huge Niners. Wait, do you have a football team you go for?
I don't watch football.
Well, Alan now goes
like,
for the
49ers.
49ers.
Go 49ers. I'm like, We love you. We've never even seen a football game.
You love the Niners. So the Niners and Levi's reached out to actually like, they're like, hey, we love you guys. We want to take you to the Super Bowl. And I was like,
You're like, shut up.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Because like we were fully planning on buying our tickets, so we're like finding like they were about to be so
they're
expensive.
yeah.
It was expensive
In Las Vegas, it was like the most expensive.
I've heard people even pay like $10,000 per ticket.
I didn't know how I was gonna do it because like, dude, that's so much money. And my parents, honestly, my parents didn't even like. Yes, we're huge Niner fans and we love them so much. But my mom was like, "Sabes, like puedes invertir con ese dinero. Like you can buy a house." Even though we like love them so much, but just like, dude, like four of us to go. If each ticket is like at least $10,000, that's $40,000. You know, it's a lot of money. And so we thankfully like were approached by Levi's to go do us. Like they're like, hey, we want you to go. Like just post with us. Like we want your content to be like what you normally do. Like we just want you to come into the store and.
Like organic.
Yeah,
like there wasn't even the deliverables, nothing.
I love that they wanted it to be so organic because I feel like that's the best type of like sponsorships. Like I love the way we did that, and I'm so grateful for them because they were able to like give us an experience that we'll never forget. Like going to the Super Bowl with your whole family when we all love football like that. Like it was just so crazy.
One of the best weeks that I ever had. Like I was in school still, and I got my independent study contract. I was in Vegas for like a week.
How was that like, you know, what was the moment for you as a little sister? You obviously saw Natalie, you know, take this seriously. But was there ever a moment for you to be like, oh my God, like we're actually doing something bigger than I think?
It was definitely like Super Bowl and Amazon recently.
Those little Amazon commercial, the back to school campaign we did.
I saw.
You guys may have started to see it. I don't know. It's out now. You guys are seeing it.
Yeah.
My biggest aha moment was Amazon. And that was like crazy. The whole filming day was like so.
It was like what, 11 hours?
11 hours.
Did they come to film for you guys?
We went to a house. So like they recreated Angie's room in a house that was like set. And no, when I tell you like
it was production.
Like I knew
oh my God.
I knew we were dealing with like Amazon, so I was like, oh my God, like it's gonna be a whole set. Like this is so exciting. But we pulled up and like we drove ourselves.
Yeah.
And they had like the street blocked off and it was like
the majority of it.
Production going on, and then there was like trucks outside like with like all the camera equipment, lighting equipment, like people were yelling like cut, rolling,
like a whole production. You're like, damn, we're stars. I was like, where's my fitting room? Did you guys have a fitting room?
Not a fitting room, but we had a stylist, we had makeup. Like it was crazy.
How was that like for you? Llegas and you're like, oh my
I was
fucking
like,
God.
oh my God, because I'm always so used to like if we're filming an ad, it's like at home, whatever.
With your
like,
iPhone.
I have like my little part, and then I can go home, like go into my room, whatever.
I deal with like filming everyone, editing it. So like when we do an ad at home, I'm just like, okay, mom, come film your part. Dad, come film your part. Mom and dad, I need you to do this. And they
like producer, editor, todo.
everything.
Yeah.
So
if anything, I'll help her set up.
Yeah,
but like that day we get there and I see the trucks and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like a movie star.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would too. Yeah.
And so we get there and we film the first part, and since I'm so used to just doing like one part and then going, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done. And then I realized like, wait, no, you have to go do another part now. Like they're not waiting for you. Like you have to go. And so I was like, oh my God. And so I'm like, we're just doing the whole thing, and it was so fun. But like I earned so much respect for like actors. Yeah. Because like it was set days are long. It's a lot of people like, hey, okay, that was great, but like, can you do it with this? Can you do it with that? Can you switch it up a little bit? Oh, let's do it in Spanish now. Yeah. So I was like, by the end of the day, I knocked out in the car. Yeah. Car ride home. I was so tired, and I was like, wow, I have so much respect for the actors.
I think people don't realize how much production can go into like a 1 minute video.
It was really crazy. Like I did not expect. I knew, like I expected it, but I didn't. Yeah. Being there, I was like, oh my gosh, like my whole family. Even though it was mainly Angie in the videos because it was like back to school, so it was focusing on her going back. Like or going to college.
Were those the ones that you guys are recently posting?
Yes, those are like the ones that are circulating or like
my God,
out
I did
right
see
now.
that. That's crazy.
So like my whole family got to be in it, and we all had our parts, but it was just like really crazy. Like everything we were wearing had to be approved. Like it was just like wow, so much like effort and like work that goes into it. and you don't think about it when you're just like watching it on your page.
Especially when you're so used to doing everything on your phone or on your little
Yes.
camera that you're like, oh my God, this is high production. Hablamos de lo bueno que han agarrado through social media. You know, you guys have gone to the Super Bowl, have gotten the opportunity to have these amazing sponsorships. Yo quiero hablar un poco de lo negativo. You know, obviamente with social media comes a lot of positives, but also a lot of negatives. And those negatives can sometimes, you know, make or break a creator. Obviamente, you guys are no stranger to hate. ¿Cómo le hacen con eso? When you guys get hate comments, does it ever affect you guys? Has it ever affected you guys? Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso.
Thankfully, we don't get too much negativity. Like, I feel like we're very blessed that, like, everyone can relate to our content and loves it. And, like, thankfully, the people that follow us, like, really do like us. Because I know there's people that, like, have, like, people that, like, follow them, but just to hate on them.
Yeah.
So a lot of the comments, like, hate comments, I can just brush them off. But when they're about my family or, like, they're coming at, like, my parents or, like, my sister, I'm just like, ugh, like, I feel bad because, like, I'm putting them out there and, like, people are saying stuff about them to them. It's like, shut up. Like, I just want to respond to these people so bad sometimes. And my dad loves to, like, talk to you guys and, like, read through the comments. And then he'll see one bad comment that'll be like, oh, the dad's annoying. And then he'll be like, oh, people hate us now. Like, we should stop. I'm just like, Dad, I'm like, look at all the comments that are saying, like, you made my day. Like, you make us laugh. Like, I love your content. So, like,
He's like, they don't want me in your videos no more.
one comment. Yeah.
comment.
So I'm just like, Dad, like, don't let that get to you.
It just makes me so frustrated, like, as a daughter, because, like, the thing about me and my dad, like, we're exactly the same. And so, like, if I see him, like, get upset over something, like, I get mad at him, but it's really just because I'm mad at the thing that's at the comments making him feel that way. And so I'm like, Dad, don't look at it. Like, it's only gonna make you feel bad. Like, look at all the good stuff of it. Like, don't pay attention to it. But, like, to me, it gets me so, like, mad. Like, the only person who's allowed to be mean to my dad is me.
It's like, you,
us.
yeah,
It's us.
y'all,
Like,
yeah.
I'm his daughter. Like, you guys have no room to say it, but, like, it's just, like, I don't like, because my dad has such, like, a big heart, and he lets any...
He just wants to make everyone laugh.
Yeah.
Do you
like,
ever personally get hate? Y tú being so young, does it ever affect you?
For me, like, the youngest, or the first time I saw hate on, like, for me, I was going through my DMs just, like, to see what's in there. And then it was this person saying, like, your family would be better off without you. And, like, it was, like, basically implying to, like...
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, what the heck? I was, like, 15 at the time. I was, like, still pretty young. And so I was like, okay, whatever. I laughed at it because I was like,
like, what do you
What am
say?
I supposed to say? Like,
what are you supposed to think?
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, like, cool. And so, like, at that point, I was like, okay, just brush it off. Like, it's only one person. And they usually have, like, no profile photo.
The troll
accounts. And, like, if you guys are hating on someone and you can't even show your face, like, that means you're not okay with it with yourself.
I think it happens a lot with social media. I feel like people over the years or just in general feel so brave behind a keyboard. La gente va a hablar porque quieren y porque pueden. Has it ever gotten, like, the hate bad to where, like, you guys feel personally attacked?
I feel like the only time I've ever cried about a hate comment was when they started, like, saying stuff about my body. I'm not thin. I've never been thin. And so I guess people, like, since I always just show my face in the videos, because, like, I feel like when I'm in the videos, I'm just, like, giving context or, like, filling in, like, what's going on so people understand, like, the rest of the video. So I don't feel like the need to show the rest of my body. And then people, like, I think the first time it was when we were out and someone took a video of us being like, oh my God, we saw the Aguilars, and it's just like us waving. But I was in the video and they were like, oh, that's why she never shows her body. Like, oh, no wonder she only shows her face, or fupali, pansali, like tortali. Like, I've heard it all.
Let me be laughing, but you guys are not allowed to laugh. Okay, I'm her sister. I'm the only one that
After
gets to
a while,
comment
I'm like, okay, they're kind of creative.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know. Sometimes though, like the trolls, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, how the fuck did you bring that? How
like,
did you
maybe
make
if
that
you
up?
put in that much energy to doing something better,
you
you'd
would
be
do
a happier
great.
person.
Yes.
Like, but I've heard it all, and they would, like, come from my body. And at the time, I was not, like, happy with myself. And the comments, like, on that video, I, like, went and looked at them because I was like, oh my God, like, what are people
They're
gonna
talking
say?
about me,
Well, at first I saw the video and I was like, oh my God, like, they saw us out. Like, you're gonna go look at the comments. And then I saw, like, the search bar was like Natalie Aguilar, like, body. And then all the comments were just, like, being mean. And I was like, I think that was the first time I ever cried about it. I like called my boyfriend. I was like, dude, they're being so mean.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend was like, you know, like what they say doesn't matter. Like, just don't let it get to you. And it was hard, but I think the creator, like the person that posted the video, ended up turning off the comments. And so then I saw another video also talking about my body, and then all the comments were like, yeah, every time someone posts a video of her full body, she makes them turn the comments off. I don't make anyone turn the comments off. Y'all are just so mean that like they have to, or like they choose to do it out of the kindness of their own heart, because
has that been something, you know, nos cuentas that you've never been thin? Was that something that you dealt with not just online but like growing up?
Yeah, I feel like growing up, you like if you're not thin, and especially growing up with like Hispanic families, like la gordita or whatever, and like you're gonna have like people making little remarks about your body. So like I was kind of used to it in a sense, but like it being just like thrown at me full force on the internet from like complete strangers, I was just like, okay.
And then for me, it's not so much, well, yeah, my body is one of them, but before this, like, my teeth were a big one, and that was, like, something I've always been insecure about. And so when people started coming at me, like, calling me shark teeth, or, like, she has, like, fish teeth or something like that, like...
That's not funny. Only I can laugh.
Not me holding in my laugh. She's like...
They kind of ate you up with that one,
No,
but they're fixed now.
I know, they're fixed, and I got them whitened yesterday, just for
Period.
today. Like, but no, yeah. So my teeth, it's like, okay, it's fixable, but, like, your comments and the way you think, like, come on.
Did the comments ever, like, take you to, like, a dark space where you're like, fuck, like, I don't even want to, like, open my mouth in the videos?
It was just like, oh my God, it was just like, dude, like, if it ever looked so bad, I tell her, like, cut that part out. I don't want my teeth in there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it in there, or, like...
Even now, like, if we don't like how we look in a part, we're like, okay, it's just like, we don't have to post that. We don't have to use that.
I think it does suck, especially with social media, because, like, uno quiere postear lo que quiera postear because you're like, bitch, this is my life. I'm having fun. But, like, when you post it out there, you kind of, you know, open it up for so many people to either talk their shit, make an opinion.
Now, if somebody makes a comment on my body or anything, I'm like, my body's out there. Like, if you guys have an issue with it, keep it to yourself.
And I feel like usually, like, now that I've lost a lot of weight, I feel like people are never going to be happy, because now instead of getting like the torta comments or the you're so big, you're so fat, whatever, I get a lot of like, oh, te miras bien desnutrido, like you look so skinny. And it's like, dude, con la gente uno nunca va a ganar.
People will never
Yo
be
me
happy.
siento bien, I feel good, and I feel like when I look in the mirror, I like what I see.
Yeah.
And I feel like at the end of the day, you kind of just have to be living your life, because I get a lot of the time when people talk shit about my weight, I look at their accounts, either they don't have a profile, or if they do, I'm like, mi amor.
Yeah.
¿Tú qué estás
Oh my
haciendo?
God, why are you
Hablando?
commenting?
Literally.
With our Amazon video, in that video, I was heavier than I am now. I have been taking a little bit more care of myself, because I did get to a point where I'm like, okay, girl, like, you need to put an end to this. But, so when we filmed that, I had lost like, I think like 7 or 8 pounds. And like, I was feeling myself okay. I was like, period. I feel confident. I was like feeling really happy. And on set that day, I was like, I feel so good. I was so worried because, I was so worried because like, they're like, oh, we're going to have clothes here pulled for you from the stylist. I was like, but what if the jeans don't fucking fit? Like, that's what I was worried about. But everything fit me. I was like so happy. And then we film, the video gets posted, and this person takes a video of my part in the campaign, and then they were like, what they put on TikTok, what happened to her? And it was me looking like, it was me looking big, and it was just like, okay, whatever. I went to the comments like fully expecting, I didn't go to the comments because I knew they were going to be mean. And my manager told me, she's like, hey, have you looked at the comments? I was like, no. She's like, well, like, they're actually, like, everyone's actually being pretty nice to you.
Like, they're defending you.
Yeah, and I looked and I was like, oh my God, like, that's the first time that's ever happened where people were like, leave her alone, blah, blah, blah. I think the guy that posted it expected people to, like,
still piggyback off of that.
But he ended up, like, privating the video or something. So I was like, oh my God.
Like, you're like, we got him to fucking shut that shit down.
And Ever's like, I know, just seeing him post that video, since that Amazon video, I have like been taking care of myself more and like losing weight. But if I was in the same place like where I didn't like myself and someone made that video about me and it got posted like that, like Bro, I would have been like, so that would have fucked me up. So thankfully now, like, I have more confidence and like I'm out here more. But like back then, like that shit would have fucked me up. So it's like, dude, how can you sit there and say stuff about people when you don't know what they're going through at home? You don't know what's going through their head, like,
or you don't know what they're struggling with. Like, that can
like,
be like your last straw, and you're over here fucking pointing it out like if it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I feel like it just happens a lot with social media. You know, hablamos de the good and the bad. What do you guys think are the pros and cons of social media?
the opportunities we get are just like insane. Things like going to the Super Bowl, that I would have never thought we would have got to go to a Super Bowl like as a family. It was like one of my dad's bucket list items to see the Niners play and win in a Super Bowl, which didn't win, but we will be back.
Half of it's checked off. Half of it's checked off.
Half of the bucket list item is checked off. But just like the opportunities we get to do, like we're so thankful for you guys, like giving us, just like caring. I don't know, thank you so much. None of this would be possible without you. So we're really grateful for that. And I think the negatives are just like
the comments.
But they're not even that bad to like
be so negative about.
Yes. Like it's only here and there, and like I just feel bad whenever like my family takes it to heart, because like for me I'm like whatever, I can brush it off, but I just don't want it to get to my family.
To me I'm like, okay, people are gonna talk their shit, like whatever, but like if it's to my parents, I'm like,
do you get defensive like when she was getting those TikToks?
Oh yeah, same with her.
What was your
like for me, if it's more about her, I'm like, you guys like be quiet, like she doesn't have to explain herself every single time, like, and like I'm her sister, so I see everything. I'm in the family, like I know everything, and so like I see the reactions to all the different comments, and to me I'm like, I care more. I don't let them see how much I care, and to me like I would get like mad or like pissed off, and I'd be like, oh my god, like shut up, like
you love me, sister.
oh my god,
it's the sister love. En el beginning andaban plática y plática de que se agarraran a putazos, pero ahorita you're over here going to war for someone, with someone for her.
I know, and to me I'm like, oh my god, shut up, you guys barely know.
You're like, I can bully her,
I'm
only me. I saw you behind the page. I saw her bully her. No, but I think it does come down to like that, you know, like that's my sister. I can tell her shit. I can bully her, quote unquote. But like if anyone else does it, like te va a molestar.
Yeah.
Ya para terminar, quiero platicar un poquito de algo que pasó hace poco. En December of 2023, ustedes perdieron a su, you know, childhood dog. Cuéntenos un poquito de eso. ¿Qué es lo que pasó? What were you guys going through when it was happening? Cuéntenos.
So Charlie was our childhood dog. He was with us for 14 years. We got him when I was 3, and she was his.
I was in 3rd grade.
So like
I'm
8?
so bad at ages.
8?
Yeah.
Like 8 years old for 8th birthday.
Yeah, he was a birthday gift.
Aww.
He was a cute little white Jack Russell Terrier mixed with Chihuahua. And he was so unique. Like, where do you see an all-white Jack Russell Terrier? And he was one of them.
But yeah, he was a crazy puppy. I feel like my mom didn't want a dog, and my dad just brought him home. She was on like a run, and my dad like brought him home from, he was being abused at his like coworker's son, I think, something like that. She knew that like the dog wasn't being taken care of, so she took the dog from her son, I think, and then gave her to my dad, and my dad brought him home, left him in the garage, went back to work, and my mom comes back from her run, there's a puppy in the house. My mom's like, what the hell?
¿Cuántos años tenía en ese entonces el perrito? Was he like months or was he like
he was
years?
still a puppy.
He was still
He was
puppy.
Okay.
months.
So a couple months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
4
He was
months.
a baby.
He was such a cute puppy.
So
he had so much energy that my mom would take him out for like 5-mile runs.
Yeah, as a puppy.
So he was like a very active dog.
Yeah,
very
when he was a
active.
puppy. Yeah,
When he was a puppy.
And then because I was like, my mom dealt with him through the puppy stage, and like I was at school all the time, so like I'm like so happy to have this dog, but like during the day, my mom had to watch him. Yeah. So we had this dog or this puppy, Charlie, and we grew up with him. He lived like a long, healthy life. He was very spoiled,
very happy.
Yeah, and then he was with us through like everything, and then back in May we noticed him coughing like pretty frequently, and I was like, what is going on? So we take him to the vet, and they tell us that he has some type of heart failure. I think he had like loose valves.
He had loose valves, two
and
loose
like
valves.
he had liquid building up, like liquid from his heart or something would go into his lungs. I don't remember like exactly what the vet told me, because I was just like, I heard him having heart problems. I was just crying like bad. They were like, it's okay, like he can still have good quality of life. He just has to be on medication. So we're like, okay, like he's gonna be okay. I had done research and it was like dogs with this condition can still live years. You know, like it's like there's really no telling. You just like you have to be aware of it and make sure he's taken care of.
He had
So
always been so healthy. Like we
never
thought he was
had any
gonna go.
problems.
Never had any problems.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Like he was perfect dog. And
So it caught you guys by surprise.
yeah, because it was like the only major health problem he had. And he was, when we were little, my mom did not want him in the house. So
he was an outdoor dog.
He was an
for the
outdoor dog for a long
longest.
time.
But
And
I
then-
would
Sneak them in.
yes, the screen to our window. I like ripped it off. So at
Yeah.
night when my mom would go to bed, I'd bring him in and like
So
let
él no
him sleep.
dormía afuera con
No.
ustedes, like dormía en su cuartito.
Yeah. And then eventually she would like found out, and then she was like, "Oh, fine." Like he'll let him in. He ended up having this heart condition, and he was okay with it for a while until at the end he started just looking really tired. And we had been away for Christmas. He was with my boyfriend, and we come home. It was like February
It was February
26th. Or not February, December. It was December 26th. We come home. We spent Christmas at my grandma's in the Bay Area. And so we picked him up. My boyfriend would always watch him. And that night that we came home, since we didn't spend Christmas at home, we had all got each other gifts, and we got Charlie gifts. So we like opened them all around the Christmas tree together. He got like a new fluffy big bed, and he was just like laying there watching us open gifts, but he was really tired that day. He was just sleeping. And so we didn't think anything of it because he was older, and we knew like his heart was like messing with him.
And,
But
like every time we'd pick him up from like somewhere, he'd be excited for a little bit, and then he'd just spend the whole day sleeping. So we never thought it was like
Yeah.
anything.
You guys
That
just
day-
thought it was routine for him.
yeah, we picked him up, and he was like, we picked him up for my boyfriend. He got the zoomies. He was so happy to see us, whatever. We get home, we open gifts. That night, he just like, he would always go upstairs to sleep like normal. And so he like, that night, he like, he looked, what did you say?
He passed first. He basically said goodbye to each one of us. Like, you know, they know kind of when. And so my mom, she hated whenever like he would pass under her feet or like
Because
just
he would shed so much. Anything he touched, his hair was on there.
yeah.
But that was his way to saying goodbye to your mom.
Yeah, so
He,
like he passed under her legs and he like lifted her legs up, and she was like, Charlie, ¿por qué haces eso? Like,
Yeah, and then she was like, yeah, vete a dormir.
yeah.
Yeah, she like told him, yeah, vete a dormir.
good night, like nice. And then me, I was laying down on the couch and I was really tired, like I was falling asleep, and he just stares at me, and I wish I petted him, but I didn't. And he just like looked at me like very like loving
Puppy.
eyes, and I gave him my like loving eyes back. And then he goes upstairs. He goes to my dad's room,
To the niner room, and he was just like laying on the couch. And then that night I go to bed, and he always goes to sleep with me, so he was just there, and I always carry him because he was like lazy at this point. But I carried him to my bed, and I laid down and I put him, and that night I went to sleep with this little like this big sweater that has the Virgencita embroidered on my heart.
Aww.
So I was like, oh my god, like
Too much.
that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. So that night he just like goes to bed, everything's
Where did
normal.
he fall asleep on?
And
The-
he fell asleep on like a big sweater that I had been wearing. Like I remember I wanted to wear that sweater to bed that night.
And then what did it say?
And so what was it?
It was like something
Talented.
fucker.
Oh yes. So my mom had got for Christmas, my mom
Yeah.
had gotten me this big like sweater that said talented fucker on it. And I was wearing it during the day, and then I took it off and left it in my room. When I went to bed, or I carried him onto my bed, I put him on the sweater, like just to lay there. And he was just like watching me get ready for bed. And then I was gonna put that sweater on to sleep. And I was like, Charlie, give me the sweater. And he just like looked at me, like he didn't get up. So I was like, he was fine, but I was like, okay, like you can sleep on it. And then I put on my Virgencita sweater. And then we go to bed. I like push him up to me because he would always like sleep, like I would sleep like on my side, and then he would sleep like right here in my side. And we go to bed, everything's normal. The next morning at 6 a.m., I wake up and he hadn't moved, and he always moved.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, Charlie, and then I didn't want to look at his face because I didn't want to remember him like that. But I was like, if his jaw's locked, like he went. So I like put my hand by his mouth, like trying to see, and I had already felt like little slobber from like ya se había ido.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. I like ran to my parents' room, and I was
And
like,
I remember, like, I woke up when she was, like, walking over, and I either thought one of two things happened. Either something happened to her boyfriend, but, like, I knew, like, deep down inside.
That it
I was
wasn't
like,
that,
it
yeah.
wasn't that. It was, like, Charlie. I woke up, and I was like, Charlie. Like,
I was like,
something's wrong with Charlie.
I woke them up. I was like, something happened. Like, Charlie, like, something's wrong. And I didn't tell, like, I just said that. My dad just got up and went straight to my room. And then my mom was just hugging me. And I was like, no, he's gone. Like, he was hard, Mom. And so that's when, my dad came back in and he like told us,
like confirmed it for
Yeah.
you guys. How was that? Like, obviamente, you know, I feel like a lot of people, I'm the type of person that feels like dogs literally do become a part of the family, and it's almost, when you lose a dog, it's almost as losing as someone that is like a sibling or whatever the case may be, like a family member.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you guys, like, to take in that news?
So hard.
I remember like thinking in that moment, because Angie was asleep. And so I was just like, oh my God, like Angie's gonna wake up to this. Like, how are we gonna tell Angie? I was like, and my mom was like, don't worry about it. Like, you're gonna be okay. And so then that whole day was just so bad because we were crying the whole just time. That was like my dog. I don't know. I hate crying, but yeah.
He was like,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm like trying to stop you from crying right now because I don't want you to cry.
If I cry, you cry.
Yeah.
No,
And
but
so-
I'm just so grateful that he went in his sleep.
Yeah.
Like my parents took him that day to the vet, and they like got him cremated, like with a vet. I don't. They took him to get cremated, and like they took care of everything that day. Like my boyfriend came over right away. Like I was in company, but
It was so hard, just like taking in the news, like because for me, every memory, like my earliest memory, is of Charlie.
¿Cómo te dijeron a ti? Obviamente you were asleep. How did you find out?
I had come out of my room, and
You
then
heard me.
I heard her. And
At
I
the same
get-
time, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard her. I like wake up more, and then I'm like, okay, go outside. Like something happened. So I go out, and then it was my dad basically like coming back and saying like, yeah, he's gone. And I was like, who's gone? Like who's gone? Then they told me Charlie. And so at that moment, I was just like in shock. I was like,
Yeah,
what do
it
you
did
mean?
not feel real.
It didn't feel real. I thought I was still like dreaming. I was pinching myself. Like I was like, no, he didn't. Like, what do you mean he's gone? And so just like all that. And so I start crying.
I'm
and,
just
like, as like I'm breaking down, like the sun's coming up, and I'm like,
yeah.
Like, what a way to wake up that
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, but like I feel like the most like the positive, I feel like I could never imagine putting my dog down. I do not like people who have to make that decision. I'm just like, I feel so bad for them because like even when you see videos on TikTok, I saw this like lady
Like
that
their last
recorded
meal.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, like I will bawl every time I see one of those videos. Like I could not imagine having to make that decision for my Charlie, but thankfully, like it was in his sleep. The vet even confirmed like he didn't feel anything. Like he just went to bed. His heart just stopped. And so I was just like, well, thank God. Like he didn't feel anything. He went the most peaceful way possible, painless. Like ya no estaba like he
Yeah.
wasn't ever suffering. Like it was just his time. And I'm just like, I'm so thankful that like that's he
That's
never
hard.
suffered.
just after Charlie had gone, it was like the worst week.
Like coming home
was
the
awful.
biggest pain. Even like my mom who se hacía que no lo quiero, no quería perro, like she cried. Like
Yeah.
even she was
She
like
was-
cried. My dad, they didn't go to work for like a week because they
Oh,
they
shit.
didn't want to leave us alone at home. And
It
like
was like hard for them too.
yeah, it was it was she was on Christmas break, so none of us were alone. We were all together. And like I know my parents, like when she had to go back to school and my parents were like gonna start going back to work, they were like worried about me because it was just
Yeah.
me and the dog at home all the time. Like I would be editing, me and the dog, me and Charlie at home all the time. I would be editing and he'd be right next to me. I'd be cooking, he'd be right next to me. Like I'd
Like,
be
te seguía mucho.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was like my shadow. So it was really hard at first.
Have you guys thought about like getting another dog, or is that something that you guys aren't ready for?
No, we actually have another puppy already.
Oh, you guys got him already?
Yeah, so
okay.
the house being empty, like
It was just
Was not
so,
it.
it was not it.
It was
Even
so painful. Like the house felt incomplete without having Charlie or just like a furry friend, you know, like or furry family member.
Yeah.
yeah,
Cause like for us, like I've always grown up with a dog, so like going from like having one to not and like feeling all that pain
Yeah.
and like for me I really felt like it was therapeutic. Like if I was having a bad day, Charlie knew that and he would come and like literally
Kiss
just say
you,
and
lick
kiss
you,
me
yeah.
and just let me cuddle him, and he was never a cuddler with me, like just regular, only if I was like crying or in a bad mood. And he knew that. And so like for me I was like, there's nothing. And so I felt like more the need for like another dog, but like not immediately after.
How
Yeah,
long
we
after did you
waited-
guys get one?
It was December.
It was December, end of December, going into the new year.
We got Levi on Valentine's Day.
Okay, so like 2
Yeah,
months.
2 months had gone by. It was really hard though because like you come home and I feel like you feel it the most when you come home and no one's
Yeah.
there to greet you. So I was just like, my aunt, she knew that like we had just lost Charlie, and she would always be sending me puppies. But another family friend that works at what is
This
it?
animal.
The animal shelter.
Shelters,
They had just brought in some rescues and they're all puppies. And so she sent me a video. She's like, look at these puppies. And I just like got the video and I sent it to the family group chat. I was like, okay, like let's just
see what they
I didn't
say.
think
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
would happen. Angie like does a group FaceTime call. She's like sobbing. She's
I'm
like,
sobbing.
that is our dog. Like, I don't know why. I just feel like he is
I was
ours.
laughing like 2 minutes before that,
Yeah.
like watching a TikTok, and I see it, and I just see his face, and he's like such a cute little puppy, and like, oh
And we
my
had
God.
seen other dogs too,
Yeah.
but like that
Yeah.
didn't happen.
And like I just start sobbing and sobbing and sobbing like so hard, and I was like, that's our dog. Like,
I want that one.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that TikTok. You're like, that's the one.
My dad came home with Levi, and like, well, after like my sister was crying and all, like my mom was like, okay, like, yeah, like no vamos a agarrar otro perro. So like that FaceTime call, like nothing like happened after that. We just like hung up. But then like my dad comes home with him like a couple weeks later. So I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, no que no, ma.
Yeah, I'm like, look, mom, no que no. But
and she loves him.
she loves him. She like spoils him the most. I think Charlie taught her that like, because with Charlie she was very like, ay, sí te quiero pendejo, like váyase para allá. But now like she just like she'll pet Levi and she's like we'll show her
Like she
affection with him.
realized how big of an addition
Yes.
he is to
Yeah.
the family. And I
Yes.
feel like pasa mucho, eh.
Yeah.
Las personas que normalmente dicen, ay, no, nomás lo tenemos por los hijos o porque mi esposo quiere perro. They're
They
usually the
love
ones
him.
taking care of the dog. They're usually the one atrás de él. Ya comió el perro, ya.
Yes.
Like they get, I'm like, no, que no te gusta el perro.
My mom sent me a video right now if she made him like she makes him like the healthiest,
God.
like peanut butter, olive oil, blueberries
Aw.
on like a lick mat, and she's like, el olive oil es bueno para esto, el blueberries es bueno para esto, y
Yeah.
el peanut butter es bueno y les ayuda. And I'm like, okay,
And like
Mom.
if she's making like her salad or something, she's putting like some strawberries in there, she'll be like, can Levi have strawberries?
yeah, it's like
And like she'll give it to him.
so she'll
So like she
spoil him.
realized with Charlie, like she loves.
Lo bueno que ya tienen como a new furry friend que les puede dar todo el amor que ustedes quieren. Ya para terminar and to end things good on a positive note, yo quiero saber entre hermanas, what are 2 pet peeves you guys have about each other and 2 things that you guys love and admire about each other? A ver, ¿con quién empezamos? A ver, Angie,
Angie?
empieza tú.
Okay, for me, I admire my sister's determination, because like if she wants something, she's gonna get it, and she has like that attitude that like if I want it, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
And so like I very much admire it, and like I admire how like protective she can be of us, because like when I was little, like I did spend a lot of time with her, and like my parents were working obviously, and she would have to take on that like older sister role, like second mom type, like, mom, I still love you, I love you,
Don't get jealous.
don't get jealous, okay? But I did spend a lot of time with her, and she's like, if I ever had like any issues, she's like, and I told her
Like she's your go-to person.
she's my go-to
Yeah.
person, like if I have an issue with something, like she'll be protective or something. Yeah.
I mean, you start with your good
That's like the
things.
deepest
Let's
I've
start
ever
with
like
the
told
good.
her something.
You're like, that's the
Oh my
most we
God.
bonded.
I
huh?
know.
Now me blushing. 2 things. Oh my God, yours were like really good.
Yeah,
Now-
they were deep, but you gotta
Jesus.
match it. You
I was
gotta
gonna be
match
like,
it.
You're like nice. Look, let me think.
I like that you're my sister.
yeah.
You're all flipping it.
See, you're like, I like that you're like cool. No, I think I admire my sister for being patient with me. I know I can be a bitch and very bossy with you, but or like I know you get annoyed when like I tell you like do this, get on your shit, like you have to like do this or that. But thank you for being patient with me, and I admire. This is hard because I'm not deep like that.
It's like the one time, like, because sometimes I do ask myself like questions like that. I'm like,
Like, what do I admire about
Yeah,
my
like,
sister?
no.
This is gonna get clipped. Natalie hates her sister. She
Literally,
can't think of
literally.
something.
But I feel like
No.
also sometimes, like, when you spend so much time with someone, you're like, fuck, like, I love them so much as a person that you're like, it's hard to, like, pinpoint one thing.
I love how I can always admire and love how I can always count on you to just be there for me. I know I always just want to be home, and like we mentioned earlier, I'm such a like homebody. She's like always wants to go out. So I admire her like also pushing me to like go out and try new things. And just being there for me and being like my rock, because she really is like my little built-in best friend. So
Ahora hay que ponerlas a pelear, amigas. What is your pet peeves about each other?
this bitch don't stop talking. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, those I can guarantee you quick. You're like, I have more than 2 actually.
I don't know, when I ask you to do something and I have to like yell at you for you to do it, and then you say like, oh, you're bossy, but like it's because you don't do it when I ask you.
I do appreciate her. Like, I do need to be yelled at sometimes. Like, I do appreciate it, but at the same time, like, my biggest pet peeve is her telling me what to do and, like, being bossy with it, and, like, her attitude sometimes. I'm like, you're such a bitch. Like, literally, like, calm down. And then
the arguments we get into, she's like, you're such a bitch. And I'm like, okay, what's your point?
Yeah.
Like, I am.
And you're like, I know I am. What are you? It's like going back and forth.
And, like, sometimes it annoys me how quick she is with her comebacks, because I'm like, you are so damn creative. I can't even get back at you. Like, oh my God, no. And then, like, what's another one?
Those are 2. No, those are, yeah,
Oh,
you're
damn,
quick.
hold on.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
you-
I'm like, girl, I asked for 2, not 10.
Did I only give one?
No, you haven't even done
Yeah, I
yours.
haven't
You
done
didn't. You did what? She did the that you're so
so we're
bossy.
one
She's
for
so
one.
quick with
Yeah.
her comebacks. Like, if you guys ever get in an argument with my sister, she is so quick with it. And for me, it takes me like a second. I'm like in the shower. I'm like, damn it, I
should have said that. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, like,
Oh my
yeah.
God, wait, when we're in arguments and I get you good,
Yeah.
like,
You don't notice it.
I don't notice it, but like, period.
And I
Do
can't
you
in
feel
the moment.
aiding up when
I
she
do.
gets you?
I'm
You're like,
oh, but I can't tell her that in the moment. I'm like,
you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'm like, whatever, dude. Literally leave, and I'm like,
Now you know though. Now the next time you guys fight and she gives that response,
I'm gonna be like, I ate you up with that one. I know I did. I'm
what
gonna
about
piss
you?
her off
Yeah,
you
more.
did.
literally, I'm like, ahora sí te agarra a putazos esta vez.
Second pet peeve. You sometimes, like, when I'm trying to get something done, you don't stop talking. Like, actually, like, you'll see me trying to edit a video, or I'm like in a rush to do something. Like right now, I had to do something. And you're like, is this cute, Ali? I'm like, bitch, do you not see that I'm like hella
I'm working.
focused?
Yeah.
I'm
I love
working
doing
late.
I love doing it, like, to her, because I know it makes her mad. But
I
at
feel
the
like
same
it's like
time,
a little sister thing to do,
Yes,
right? Like to
yeah.
bug your older sister, pero al final del día, amigas, obviamente se aman y se quieren muchísimo como hermanas, como familia. And I'm so happy que las pude tener aquí el día de hoy para no nomás yo conocerlas un poquito más, pero ya también haya todos en casita que las conozcan. Yo sé que muchos de ustedes las estaban pide y pide y pide, amigas, so I'm so happy we were able to deliver it. With that being said, ¿en dónde se miran ustedes in the next 5 years? What are personal goals, career goals que ustedes se tienen?
I'm going into college this month, actually. And I am very nervous, but I'm excited. And next 5 years, I want to graduate and I want to get working in the sports industry.
What do you want to do for college? Like, ¿qué quieres
College,
estudiar?
I'm studying public relations
Okay.
right now. So it's like, it's something that I can apply everywhere. And like, but I want to apply it specifically in sports.
For her NFL guy.
Oh, yeah.
Para que le salga el amor de su vida.
Oh
At least she has a plan.
Yeah,
She's like, me va a salir porque me va a salir.
Yeah, I'm like manifesting it right now. No, I want to work in sports because I just love how
The
passionate
adrenaline,
the adrenaline, how passionate the people who are into it are. Like, I obviously love it so much. And then, like, just the community it brings. And it sounds like cheesy to say, but like, it is like stuff I've
we
noticed.
grew up with my dad watching the 49ers, and like we've always been Niner fans since birth. But before, I would just see my dad yelling at the TV.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, whatever. But then once I like started watching it with him and understanding it, I was like, oh my God, wait, like,
This
yeah,
is
you better
good.
you better get that first down. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, we just love the Niners so much. In the next 5 years, I definitely want to see myself I definitely want to be married. I want to have a house. I want to be married, and I want to start my family. I've always said I want to be like a young mom. I remember when I was like younger, I'd be like, I remember saying like, oh, I want to have my kids by the time I'm 23, but I'm 22 now, and I'm like,
You're
hold
like,
on.
we gotta hurry up. El novio,
No.
ponte las pilas.
No,
seriously,
I'm scared.
It is. I feel like
It's
when
scary.
Yeah.
So my mom will tell me too, like, tú dijiste que querías ser like young mom, like, yeah, as my grandma. And I'm like, hold on, wait, like, I'm here now. Like, this is scary. But I do still want to be a young mom, and I want to have my kids like in the next 5 years. I want to just like back to back pop them out.
Mommy makeover. Just kidding.
Damn, I wasn't saying that. But I guess I'll get a mommy makeover
Yeah.
too. And I definitely still want to be doing content. I don't think I would do like too much like family, like focusing on my kids, but I would still want to like document like how my parents are as grandparents. Angie has a tia, like how it's gonna be.
Your
It's
new
definitely-
life.
My
Yeah,
new
yeah,
life.
yeah.
It's definitely gonna be a new dynamic, but I'm excited for it. And
For me, I'm more excited like for her to have her kids because like I know like her attitude is gonna come out in them, and I just want to see
I
them.
mean, like, I just want you to see what I deal with.
Yeah, I know. And then
She
like
wants-
I'll tell them like go annoy your mom real quick. Like I just want them to like mess with her.
Me?
Or, like just
The
to
younger
see them,
sister?
just to see them like honestly like grow up and everything. Like
What do you
for me,
want to
I-
become a tia like soon too?
I mean, up to her, but like
my mom, when I tell my mom like I got my period, she's like, "Aw," I'm like, "Girl, what do you
You're like, yo
I'm like-
pensé que este mes iba a ser el mes.
I know.
Is that like a convo you have with your boyfriend though? Like, do you guys plan on it? Is that like a thing you guys constantly
Yeah,
talk
we definitely we want kids. He also wants to have them young too, but I won't like we want to get married first and do all
Yeah.
that. Like we want look at vamos a hacer bien. But if they like come early, like oh well.
You're like, aquí los esperamos. But I hope que in 5 years you guys can look back at this interview y tú ya con un NFL player y tú con marido y hijos, amiga, porque en verdad que sí, yo sé que ustedes todas las metas que se tengan las van a cumplir. And I'm so excited. Once again, I want to say thank you guys so much for taking your time out of your day to come here y platicar conmigo. Yo sé que ustedes y yo también estaba bien nervioso throughout this whole
Dude.
interview. So I really do appreciate you guys being here today.
Thank you.
you
Do you think
so
we did
much.
good? Did
No,
we do
I think
good,
you guys did good. What do you guys think you guys did?
This is our first
I don't
podcast.
know, yeah.
I feel
So-
like I'm scared it's gonna look like I talked too much and I didn't let her talk. But do you feel like you talked enough?
I feel like I talked a good amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
Acuérdense, amigas, la Angie es más reservada.
She said
I'm like, literally, I'm like, so I feel also you take more of like the leader role. Is that a thing with you guys as
Yeah,
sisters?
she's
Like, not
like-
the leader, but like the
as the older sister.
As an
It just,
older
like,
sister,
it
it's
comes
naturally.
in, yeah.
For me, I'm like, if like there's someone coming up to me like weirdly, I'll like get behind her, like
You're like,
go-
Natalie, deal with
or
it.
get next to her,
Literally.
like Natalie, like I like hide behind her because I'm like.
No, but you guys did amazing. Es lo que les estaba diciendo, amigas. But with that being said, espero otra vez que les haya gustado muchísimo el episodio del día de hoy. Once again, thank you girls for being here.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for
This was really
having us.
fun.
And thank you guys so much for listening and watching.